Hey, Nick.
Hey, Tys.
What's happening?
Good King Wensley runs around on the feast of Stephen.
Good King Wensley.
I don't know the words. Wesley runs around. Who the fuck is Stephen?
You really? No, you don't. You didn't even get it close. I mean, obviously the second part was funny, but
how funny was that?
Yeah, all right. Well, it is very close to Christmas.
Yeah, that was good.
So, this episode will be landing 10 days before Christmas.
So on the 10th day of what's the 10th day of Christmas? Do you love me? 10 pipers.
Lepers.
Piping.
Lepers?
Lepers.
Leopards leaping? Is that one?
I don't think lepers are in there.
10 lepers
10 lepers
leaping. Oh, that's terrifying.
9 ladies dancing.
That's something out of a...
Or what's 10? What's 10? 10, is it 10 maids are milking? I think it's 10 maids are milking, which shows how old the fuck...
I end up just... Maids are milking's like the generic... Which one is it? Yeah, just say maids are milking.
If I've got...
Yes.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Welcome
this is episode 46.
46?
Yeah, we should have said that. Nic, Tys and Videotape.
This is Nic, Tys and Videotape. Welcome. My name is Nicholas. This is my friend Tyson.
Hello.
How are we going, everyone?
I hope everyone's good and getting their Christmas shopping done and doing all that kind of stuff.
Have you done that, Tys?
No, I haven't done it.
No, never.
I will start next week.
Oh, lovely.
Maybe.
Yeah? Are you off? You're off school now. School's finished.
Yes.
Oh, you fucking...
I have finished for the year.
All those people who are teachers. So now I know why you're teachers, you know.
Well, we do get some good holidays.
You do.
We also then do...
You do like
stressful, some other stressful things that we also have to deal with.
Especially, teachers of year 11, year 12.
Yes, the well-being of your children is in our hands.
Yeah.
So
it's hard.
We can have 6 weeks over Christmas
Totally.
if you want your children to not be a fucking idiot for the rest of your life.
Exactly. Need to get educated.
So we are here. We're talking Love Actually.
We're talking Love Actually.
We've bitten the bullet and just said, you know what? Everybody else is fucking talking about it.
It was inevitable.
It was inevitable.
It was inevitable.
It is probably the most kind of...
it's the most
heavily debated Christmas film of the last 10 years. 15 years because it came out a while ago. 2003.
2003.
So this has been a while, and it is a Christmas favourite of many.
Especially of free-to-air television.
Oh, yeah. That's some easy ratings. Just chuck that shit on.
Just chuck that shit on.
You'll be right.
But this is our second Richard Curtis.
Well, he didn't direct...
I didn't?
4 Weddings, I don't believe.
He
wrote it. I am not 100% certain of that, though. Perhaps that is worth giving it a googs.
But yeah.
And so that's going to be our second last episode for the year.
It is.
Next week will be our last episode of the year. We're going to do some kind of Christmas party. Yeah, it's going to be a festive Christmas.
It's going to be a celebration.
That's exactly what it's going to be.
Sorry, Mike Newell.
Thank you. Yes, and so that's going to be very exciting. We don't know what we're going to do yet, but you will be, if you keep to the Twitters and the Facebooks,
you'll know ahead of time.
You will know ahead of time, and I don't think it's going to be something that you will need to do much research on.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think we'd do that. That would be mean.
We would like to do. We'll get to Home Alone next year because just to crush some dreams quickly. We'll get Home Alone because what we've realised doing, if you've been listening to our recent episodes, we've realised that he's not that great a director, is he?
Chris Columbus.
Mr. Christopher Columbus.
Chris Columbus.
I don't know where I got that from.
No, Chris Columbus is always been one of those guys that I was just kind of had residual goodwill.
I was like, he's great
for certain things.
Yeah.
And
no, he's not.
Yeah,
it's
become more and more evident the more I think about it.
Yeah.
That I think he's lucked out a career with a couple of good ones here and there. So we didn't want to have to do that again and go through the old
but even I love Home Alone
catalogue.
I love Home Alone.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll get to
but yes, today...
Maybe Peanuts, sorry.
Oh, Peanuts Christmas.
Peanuts Christmas.
Oh, cute. There's a nice song in that.
There is.
There's always good songs in the Peanuts ones.
Please.
But yes, today it's going to be Love Actually, episode 46. But before we do any of that, let's talk some trailers.
Talk some trailers.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, okay.
Everybody's talking trailers. So, Nicholas. Last week when we were recording, we were cursing that we were recording probably about 8 hours too early to discuss the new Jurassic Park.
Right.
Fallen Kingdom? Jurassic World. Fallen Kingdom trailer.
Which is, that's a title,
That
isn't
is
it?
a title. They are 4 words smashed together.
I know how you hate bylines. How does Fallen World, what is it? Fallen Kingdom suit you? It's not really a kingdom, though, is it?
Well, look, it's okay. I mean, it's...
Do you know what I prefer? Well, after watching the trailer, do you know what I prefer? Jurassic World Armageddon. Come on, tell me it's not. It's basically you watch this trailer and you're like, oh, what they're doing is how the dinosaurs left the Earth. And it's a big meteorite. Blah blah blah.
Do they talk about that? Is that what happened in that Disney dinosaur movie from like 2000?
Not Land Before.
No,
remember just Dinosaur. Yeah, I don't know. I never watched that. I never wanted to. I was like, you're not Land Before Time.
No, do you know they've made like 17 of those motherfuckers,
dude? Cashing it in, reeling it in.
Like, I want to write those.
Is Ducky still in it?
Oh, who knows, man? Who knows?
Ducky and Littlefoot, and who was the Spike?
I can't help you with any of those names.
You can't help me with anything. Spike was the mute Stegosaurus.
Oh, Jesus!
Look at this guy.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at that.
That little patch of your brain that
just kept all that information. Well done, Nicholas.
That's very
strange. Do you know any calculus? Fuck no.
No. I remember the main fucking character from Land Before Time.
Land Before Time.
But yeah, so let's talk about this trailer first.
All right.
What do you think, Nicholas?
You don't want to know what I think.
No, because I think we might be similar then.
Yeah. Well, okay. Just to start off, I didn't think much of Jurassic World, to be honest. It gave away all the money shots in the trailer.
Sure.
Which I wasn't a huge fan of.
Yeah.
I love that everyone jumped on this thing. Everyone was like, "Yeah, another Jurassic Park. It's been a while. Let's do this. Let's do this properly." There were so many bad elements of Jurassic World that I hated.
Yeah, look, I had a good time with Jurassic World, but I can definitely see its faults. Yeah. I found myself enjoying it almost despite myself, and there were enough things in it that I could hang on and say, no, I really like that element. Yeah. And I've watched it probably twice, I think, since then. And it's a very mixed bag.
Yeah, you're not going to buy it by any means.
No, I bought it.
You've bought it?
Yeah, I bought
Tys.
it. I am a completist, some would say.
I totally understand. I totally understand.
Yeah, so and I think the bits with the little raptor Blue,
yes,
who is also in this one,
who is in the ear,
are some of the best stuff in the series.
Oh, really?
And so I can really kind of get behind
best stuff
that.
in the series. Whoa!
Well, I think it's like,
to be honest, it's not that great a series. Number one for me.
It's a great first film,
dude. Box office.
And the second one has some great moments,
and then the
some very memorable moments. Third, I just don't care about. Yeah. I've seen it once, and I'll never have to see it again.
Yeah, I remember just throughout 3, there's a constant ringtone because they're always trying to get the sat phone or whatever.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I mean, important.
Yeah, very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
Plot point. That sat phone, clearly. No, but like, because you get Pete Postlethwaite in the second one.
That's true. You do.
Like,
I love Pete, though.
And the focus is on Goldblum, so it kind of, you get some
and
good
Julianne
stuff
Moore
in that.
just plays an annoying character in number 2.
Unfortunately,
you know,
and she's so
I love
much better
her.
than that.
Yeah, she's so much better.
She has some moments too, but yeah, she's frustrating.
But yeah, it's just a pain. Did what happened with the director of this? Wasn't there a?
No, you're thinking about how Colin Trevorrow, the director of Jurassic World,
was meant
to be doing
for the Star Wars, and they went, "Hey!"
got fired because
no one likes him.
No one likes him because I think he's one of those guys that it appears as though he developed quite the ego.
Yeah,
from directing what became the biggest blockbuster of.
It was huge.
Of whatever, like it was massive.
It was huge. That's because it's a family film. Everyone can go and see Jurassic World.
Everyone can go see it, of course. Yeah. Let's talk about this trailer. We're getting
off. Sorry.
So the director of this one though is J.A. Boyena. Boyena?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Sure.
But I really, really liked the Impossible.
I still haven't seen it. The tsunami.
Tsunami, that's the word I was thinking of. I was like, the wave?
The wave?
No, that's a bigger one, and it kills
storm.
people. Tsunami. Yeah, the tsunami movie, which is out of control good. Like, I couldn't believe how great it was when I saw it. And so I was kind of cautiously excited about this and was like, oh yeah, that could be really interesting. But this trailer did like 0 for me, like absolutely 0.
This one? The new one. Yeah, I was like, oh, that was fun.
I thought it kind of looked kind of tacky, like the special effects look kind of cheap.
But what?
I don't.
The storyline is out the window. They go back, and then the volcano explodes.
It's
and then
another
what the
one.
Fuck?
It's another. Let's go back to the island to save the dinosaurs. That was what Lost World was.
No, it wasn't. Well, Lost World was. Yeah. That's
essentially like they went to go.
Exactly. They went to go and save the dinosaurs, but there were hunters going after the dinosaurs, going to capture them in sort of like a King Kong type thing. We're going to catch them and make money. And yeah. It is. I got the exact same feeling after watching Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom trailer, and then I went, "Oh yeah, that's Lost World."
I got, but also I don't know. It doesn't look. It looks like small scale. I don't know. That's not right.
No.
It
No,
looks
because
like
this
a
thing wouldn't
really,
have-
really expensive sci-fi movie. Like, the colours all look really kind of manufactured, and the dinosaurs themselves, we're at that point of CGI now where we can make things look really, really fucking good.
Yeah.
But there was nothing tangible about anything that happened in that trailer. And so, I feel like even Jurassic World, look, I'm not certain, but I feel like Jurassic World at least had maybe a little bit of practical mixed in with CGI, maybe just a little bit.
Sure.
I could be completely wrong, but for some reason, when I watched Jurassic World, I still felt there was a certain amount of tangibility about the dinosaurs. These look like just computer graphics to me, more than anything.
So especially,
there's no weight
especially at the end when if you're going to compare, because they're essentially, we should be better from 1993's Jurassic Park, right? But unfortunately, that end shot when you see the T-Rex jump down on the thing and then let out that iconic sound. Unfortunately, in my memory, I'm going back, and the T-Rex in Jurassic Park looked way better than what I just saw in that trailer.
That's one of the greatest shots of all time.
You know, I was like, well, how are you getting worse? Like, that just looks like shit. Like, and why should I care? Like that. Yay, T-Rex is in there. Like,
because it's the same T-Rex.
Oh, fuck off.
It is. It's got scars and shit.
Is
apparently,
it? What? It's the same T-Rex.
So it's the same T-Rex from all the movies. So when there's been a T-Rex, it's the same one.
What? That's not true.
Yeah,
are you
true.
telling me that the T-Rex in number 2 is the same T-Rex in number 1?
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
There's apparently...
That can't
I don't know
be
if the one in 2 is the same in number 1, but the one in Jurassic World is the one from number 1, and now this is the one again.
Right.
Same one.
Okay, so it's a recurring...
So the one that came
character.
out to take down the Indominus Rex was the same T-Rex from the first film. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And see, some of the stuff that I actually enjoyed about Jurassic World as well was the behind the scenes stuff, like BD Wong being like, turning out to be like, spoilers for Jurassic World, turning out to be kind of like a mad scientist kind of thing.
Yeah, I love that. That was really good.
was kind of interesting, and there was
the training.
I don't know if any of that's going to happen
when Chris
now.
Pratt was training and stuff.
Yeah, now it just kind of looks like. Yeah, we roll up at the island, and then it's like a survival kind of film where it's going to be like we run from this, and then we run from that, and then we run from this again.
You can tell what it is from the trailer. They get there, they're trying to do their job, then someone tells them, oh, by the way, this volcano is about to explode. You've got about 30 minutes. We all have to run. And then all hell breaks loose. Yeah. And that's all it is.
Oh, there'll be a countdown of some description for sure.
Yeah.
We feel that magma will reach critical mass at fucking...
And not a good...
1,400 hours.
And not a good countdown
and then
either.
It'll be a doop, doop. Like someone will have a fucking computer readout.
Yeah, exactly. Not a good countdown, because I love a good countdown. I love a good... You know what I love?
don't mind it.
I love original Aliens. You have... 30 seconds to reach minimum safe distance. I like that.
But that's coupled with the score is what gets you in that shit. That's the...
I love that. You have now 9 minutes to reach minimum safe distance. I'm all for that shit.
Yeah, I get you.
This is nothing. This has got nothing up there.
Look, I'm completely speculating. We may be completely incorrect. I did hear a rumor that everything that happens in this trailer is stuff that happens in about the first 45 minutes of the film.
Wow.
And from there, it moves elsewhere.
Oh. The rumour mill. I like it.
I've heard this on the rumour mill. On the grapevine, if you will.
Why would Chris Pratt go back? Why?
Because of Blue, man.
Oh, fuck off.
Blue's...
No one cares.
It's his girl.
Oh, come on. Really?
I don't care about Blue.
I know you do.
Blue's great.
Yeah, I know.
Because the bit that when Blue run around the corner in slow-mo in that first one, I was like, go fucking yes, Blue. Go.
I just want to know. I just. You know what? I may see this just to know if the creature that they kept in the water that came up in the trailer that everyone remembers.
Oh yeah.
If that gets out in the sea, I'm all for it. Bring that on.
Yeah, good
I
point.
want to see that
because that'd make it. That'd make it to the rest of the world. pretty comfortably.
Very comfortably. Yeah, that'd be like, oh yeah, that's a cruise ship right there. Let's jump on that.
Oh, see, that's what the sequel to this fucking movie should have been.
That's what
that thing attacks a cruise ship. Oh my god. Yeah, that's what I want. Now we got a movie.
That's right. Yeah, now we got a
movie. Yeah, all right. Look, I'm going to say it. There's no way I'm not going to say it.
Oh, look, I'll watch it if it's streaming. Sure.
And my partner is mad obsessed with Jurassic Park stuff, so we'll be there.
We'll
be there first week.
He's all over Jurassic Park stuff. Yeah.
All
right, Jurassic World.
Moving on.
Fallen Kingdom.
That one.
What else do you want to? Let's talk about Alita.
Alita Battle Angel.
Battle Angel.
Yeah.
What were your first thoughts about this one?
Because this is slightly more obscure, people may not have seen this, but this is a project that James Cameron has been trying to get off the ground for years.
For years.
Years.
I love who he's given helm. Like, I did not see this coming.
Yeah, it's a good choice, isn't it? So
really
he's,
good
he's
choice.
handed the reins over to Robert Rodriguez. I can't say his name. I've never said it out loud. I don't
Rodriguez.
think. Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Of like Desperado and From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah. See episode number, I think it's 6.
Very early episode, yeah. And all those fucking Spy Kids movies.
Yep.
So that's kind of an interesting
Planet
choice.
Terror.
Yeah,
one of my faves.
That's a good one.
But yeah, it's this is a bit. It took me. You know what? It took me a second watch. As soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, I have to watch that again to kind of digest what the fuck is going on.
Look, I think as far as a trailer goes, it's a very well edited trailer. I think it really kind of it gives us its own little mini narrative.
Yeah,
like not in any like not like a short film kind of sense, but it just gives us a little bit of information in the sense that we learn kind of who she is, or where she, like very rough details of where he got her from, and that she is special.
She is special,
and that we know that she's special because she's very fucking strong. And we see that in one instant, and everyone kind of goes,
Jesus. "Ooh, okay,
alrighty, like this is gonna get fucking balls to the wall." Have you seen the anime that this is based on?
No, I haven't.
I have,
and
I was trying my best to remember it. It was back in the day where I would watch anything that had...
Yeah,
that's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, anything that had...
Hang on.
Oh.
I'm just going to delete.
Technical difficulties.
No.
2 seconds.
I'm just going to quit Word so it doesn't keep trying to fucking automatic update like a piece of shit. Back in the day where I just would watch... I'd go to the video store and my brother kind of got me started on it. And anything that had that little manga label on it, I was all about it. And I ended up seeing some really fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Because, man, some of them are just...
Arukusuki Dojo, did you see that?
Is that Legend of the Overfiend? Yeah. I was about to say, that is some fucked up shit. I am amazed that you know how to pronounce it.
Yep. Yeah, that got a good run. Me and my brother were like, what is this? Messed up. Tentacle porn, good lord.
Like, it is. It's legit tentacle porn, and then like so much fucking violence and people just getting torn apart.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, I saw quite a few of those, and this was one that I watched, and I never really like got as obsessed about it as I did with a few of the other ones. Like something like Fist of the North Star. I think I watched maybe like 10 to 15 times.
Yeah.
I was just like, Fist of the North Star, let's do it again, because I love the mythology of it all.
Me and my brother devoured Vampire Hunter D.
I think I saw that one. So I wasn't the hugest fan of that one either. But this one I've definitely watched, and I remember it being kind of a little bit more, a little bit less kind of plot driven as some of the other ones. It was a little bit kind of more, out there.
Okay.
It wasn't very long, and I remember thinking that it must have been like a pilot for a series, but
because some of them just run for an hour.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and that upon further research, that was it. It just goes for an hour, and it was just the story that they told.
Yeah.
I don't remember many details from it aside from that. I think the finale's on like a blimp or something. And that's it. And she's a robot kind of bounty hunter or something.
Yeah.
That gets found by this kind of old professor and put together.
I like that Christoph Waltz is the old professor, sort of mad scientist kind of. Well, he's
it's not often that a movie like this with Robert Rodriguez directing gets to pull when it's introducing its characters 3 Academy Award winner.
Yeah, that's
tags
that'd be a new
straight out the fucking bat. Christoph Waltz, Jennifer Connelly, and Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, that's huge. That's massive, isn't it?
Yeah, so I mean, they've pulled a cast, that's for sure.
Yeah, but the reason I had to have a rewatch is because so the first credit that comes up is that this is James Cameron's child. Baby, or whatever you want to call it, you know, and from then on in, I was like, oh, okay. So when you finally see her and of how the computer animation is with her, it's basically putting it's the same as Rise of the Planet of the Apes with Caesar. That's what I feel, but it's a human instead of an ape.
I don't know if they've gone to that extent.
Really?
I think it might just be her eyeballs.
What?
I think,
no.
And I mean, obviously her arms because they're.
No, I think that she's a stand-in. Yeah, I know, but I feel like yes, that is her face. But
so maybe they've just
like the same as Mark Ruffalo is the Hulk now. Do you know what I mean? Like, and now it's a human, and now it's because it's not a big green angry monster or an ape. We're just getting a human version of whatever this computer animation is, and because it's James Cameron and with the whole Avatar background and all that stuff, I know that he's very all for the stop motion animation stuff.
Yeah.
Not stop motion, Nicholas.
Motion capture.
Motion capture. Thank you. So I'm feeling that she's just maybe stood in, but it just looks amazing.
It does look it looks amazing. It looks pretty weird, and it will take a little bit of adjusting to. I hope they kind of fix her eyeballs a little bit.
Yeah,
it looks a bit Polar Expressy. At times, but
it was the wipe away of the tear that got me. I was like,
water.
You're like touching.
Yeah, he's touching
like a plastic
thing.
Yeah, it looks weird.
Yeah. But I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued just because it's an interesting topic.
It's a different world. It's
for that director. I'm glad he's getting away from all the fucking. I don't want to see a third Machete film. I don't even want to watch that second one because the first one was barely watchable.
I love them. There was something you threw on. You just I'm going to watch this.
Sure.
This is just a bit of fun. When you can't be fucked using your brain, you chuck on Machete.
Sure.
Yeah.
And but I'm glad it's good to see him maybe tackling something just with a little bit more. Not something that him and his mates are going to laugh about because that's essentially what his last bunch of movies has been.
Yeah.
It's like a big fucking inside joke for him and people that were into exploitation cinema.
Yeah.
So he's kind of attacking
he's stepping away from that
an actual narrative and like something that's kind of not that they don't have narratives, but you know what I mean.
Which I feel that he can do. He can do quite well.
I've always. I'm not going to say I'm always a fan of what he does, but I respect what he does a lot of the time because he at least kind of tries things.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's a very, he's built himself from the ground up, so he's kind of, I will allow him.
Exactly.
That sounds so fucking
patronising. You will allow him.
How awful is that? But when I'm watching his stuff, I'm like, hey man, no, you've earned the right just to fucking do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want, exactly.
So
and he does do everything.
He does everything.
He does sound.
But I feel like in a project like this, that would not be the case.
No.
I think he's
which is kind of good for
director.
someone of his ilk because he can maybe veer off course a little where he's got James Cameron behind him going, no dude, come on, this is let's do it like this,
yeah,
a little bit more guidance to his vision.
Hopefully he is kind of
you know what I mean?
More. He might just be there. He might have just said, you know what, I'm never going to have time to make this, and just stepped away and just said, just chuck my name as an executive producer, and that's fine. So you never know, really.
And Robert Rodriguez is shot one scene.
No, he's like, and I want to get them. I'm gonna get my mariachi band to score it, and I'm gonna edit it myself, and it comes back looking like this weird, Planet Terror Part
old
2
school,
kind of thing
like,
with
El Mariachi,
missing fucking reels and shit,
burning reels.
Yeah.
I love that. I always love it. Always have time for that.
Sure,
but yeah, Alita, Battle Angel,
great.
Are you gonna see this?
Maybe
if
it's reviewed well.
Yeah, I think you wait for the review.
I think that'll be if it turns out, because I did a very similar thing with Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell looked really great, and I was pumped, and then all the reviews were pretty lame, and I went, I think I might just wait for that one. I'll give it a go when it's
which hurts me so much because I was a huge
accessible
fan
at
of
home.
Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, it's a good anime, eh?
Yeah. I'm gonna throw a spanner because just before we talk about the one that we were going to talk about, did you happen to watch because we've talked about it before and we've talked about him a lot, how Bruce Willis is cashing it in, and then I saw something called Acts of Violence.
Yeah, I did see that.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did watch that one.
I kind of maybe want to watch that.
Yeah, look, at least he's moving around.
Do you know what I mean? At least he's moving around.
You know what I mean? And because you can tell, because it's not one of those ones where you watch the trailer and he's in the same location for every shot that they use of him.
Yeah, there was like a scene where he
and it's
brushed papers off the desk. And I was like, and he slammed down the phone. I was like, dude, go you.
Yeah, he's like, you get one take. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not waiting around till you set this shit up again.
Like, set up fucking 3 cameras. If you don't have it in 3,
that's it. If you don't get it in 3 angles, you're not getting it at all. Yeah, look,
but it looks kind of good.
Because I like that. Is it
the other actor?
Is it Sean?
I like him as well.
Sean Astin? No,
Ashmore.
Yeah,
he's.
Is it Sean Ashmore or the other Ashmore? Because it's twins.
Yeah, it's twins, but it's Sean.
It is Sean.
Yeah,
and I like
Cole Hauser,
who I feel like has kind of not.
He hasn't done anything.
I didn't recognize him when I first saw him either.
Neither did I.
Because like when I think of him, I think of like Pitch Black and stuff like that.
I think of Higher Learning.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
Let's do an episode on that.
No, yeah.
I'm kidding.
Why not? No
way we're doing that.
To appease the masses that are listening, we can do whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to watch it. I'll be honest, but I did watch the trailer and kind of think,
that looks all right.
It looks like maybe they might have paid him an extra $50,000 for this one.
But it's such a, and I know that you're a big fan, but it's such a Van Damme title, like Acts of Violence.
It's Seagal level title. Yeah. It's not even
Where
Van
are these
Damme.
people getting like? Oh.
Well, it's been happening for a while. They're running out of 3-word combinations. I reckon
it's either 1 or 3.
Yeah, it's like, oh god, what are we gonna do? It's like Violent act?
Violent act?
No. Oh, acts of violence.
That's terrible.
And someone went, sold.
That is so bad.
Ring Bruce. They rang him and he's like, yeah, how much?
Yeah. Where's the truck?
Yeah.
Give me the truck.
Where's the truck of money? I don't hear the truck backing up.
Let's hear the truck. Give me the truck noise. His agent just goes, he rings over, Bruce, we've got a movie. Yeah? Give me the sound. Dee, dee, dee. That's all I want to hear.
Sign me up. All right, what was the other one we were going to talk about?
The last one was, I just want to talk about quickly. We've talked about it before, but this is a second trailer. And this second trailer, like I very rarely watch a second trailer, but this one, we were so intrigued by the first one because the first one was just little snippets. And the trailer I'm talking about is Ready Player One.
Yes, good trailer. I was glad to see a bit of plot because I actually had no idea what the movie was about in that first one.
No, you told me what the plot was about last time.
Not about finding the Easter egg.
Yeah, you told me that.
What?
Yeah, you did.
What?
You did.
I must have researched.
No, because I, like, when I saw this trailer, I was like, oh, there's the Easter egg that Tys told me about. That's literally what I thought. Because I didn't read anything about it.
I have no recollection
You
of
have
that.
no recollection of that?
At all.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you
told me. It felt
told me.
like brand new information to me when I was watching this trailer. I'm going to go back into the archives and find our conversation.
I'm 95% sure it was
and
you.
Watch it with me, just me going, yeah, so this is what happens.
Yeah.
I'm totally all over this. My God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
But this just colours the palette so nicely.
Yes,
I'm all for it.
I am all for it too.
I am buying the book tomorrow. I have to.
Oh yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe I'll read it.
That's
maybe I'll read it
that's the other thing
afterwards.
you said. You said you wanted to read the book before you saw
look,
it.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I always say that. When I say that a movie's based on a book, I'm always like, oh, I really should read that book.
Yeah. It's the same with me and
pretty
Girl with the Dragon. I've read 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
I haven't hit 3 or 4 yet.
That's not bad. It's better than most, I reckon.
Yeah, exactly. But
Except
this
for
is
people
intense.
that live on airplanes.
And the thing that I loved was the use of Depeche Mode in this. The fact that fucking Van Halen rocked up in this rocked up in this.
That was
trailer.
that was when my ears really pricked up to
It was
that.
just beautiful.
That was pretty great.
And so in this trailer, I did like a stop just to see all the things that I can reference.
Oh
when I
yeah,
did that.
sure.
So in the shot with the cars, when the shot comes over the cars and you can see all of them.
Yep.
I saw the Enforcer, which you saw in the other one, but I saw the 1960s Batmobile. Like, it's right at the front of the camera.
Cool.
And 2 ears pricking up.
That's
I'm like,
pretty funny.
That's badass.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I was thinking of today is this made me think, and this is the reason why I want to talk about this, was I had a housemate once.
Right.
Who, she was lovely. She was, but didn't know any pop culture references whatsoever.
Sure.
And how she didn't was
She was
No,
like
no, no.
a Kimmy Schmidt
wrong
style.
Oh, a little bit. No, I'm kidding. She just didn't know. And the reason that, so me and Sam, we said, well, would you like us to help you? She's like, yeah, because I don't know what to talk about at parties. All my
point.
friends talk about these movies and songs, and I don't know
Especially
anything.
if it was like a party that I hosted.
Yeah.
I'd be like, get the fuck out.
Yeah. Oh, that's a bit hard.
No, I'd
But
never.
yeah, so she said, I said, okay, well, I'll give you 10 movies to watch, and Sam gave her 10 albums to watch. Listen to, sorry.
Yeah,
not
great.
Watch. And the reason that this came about is because she used to work at the airport, right? And she came home one night. She used to make coffee at the airport. Anyway, so she came home one night and said, oh my God, you'll never guess who I met today. Oh, yeah, who was it? She's like, oh, I forget the name. I'm like, okay. That's a great story. Who was it? She goes, it was a singer. I'm pretty sure he was a singer. He was cool. He had like his name is like one word. I think it was like stab or something like that. Anyway, Sam turns around. She's cooking in the kitchen, does this with her t-shirt and goes, was it this person? Was it Slash? And she had a yeah, it was it. So she met Slash, didn't know who he was, served him coffee, had a 5-minute conversation, had no idea. From that point on, we were like, okay, so clearly we have to help you a little bit. So yeah, and it was lovely.
She's blessed.
But this is why I'm going to bring this up. Her watching this, she's not going to get anything.
No, it'll be a very different experience.
Very different. It'll be just a random movie.
Well, it's funny because I tried not to pay too much attention this time. I just kind of watched it.
Yeah.
And just went, no, I'm not going to watch any of those. I don't want to watch the breakdowns and do all that kind of stuff. Because I was just like, look, I know what the deal is. I know that it's what kind of the world that it's based in.
Yeah.
There's going to be all kinds of shit. I just wanted to get a vibe for the feel of for the film itself. And I'm on board.
Yeah.
I think it looks like it's going to be really fun. Really, really fun.
Really fun. I'm really looking forward to getting immersed in this world.
Yeah.
I really do. And with Mr. Spielberg behind it, it's just going to be awesome.
Yeah, look, he's usually pretty reliable. It's a double Spielberg year next year as well. We're going to get the Post as well.
Oh, that's right.
Which I'm pretty excited for.
Good. Yeah, that looks really good. Yeah. Please, Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep go head to head.
Spielberg's a busy man.
Bring that on. So he should be.
Yeah.
With great power comes great responsibility.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Stephen Sondheim, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I haven't heard from Sondheim for a while.
I've got beef.
All right, well, I reckon that might wrap us up on Talkin Trailers.
Yeah.
Because we've got a lot to talk about.
We got a lot.
So why don't we move on to what did you watch this week?
It's the instrumental version.
Yeah, where's the button? I just need to hit the button. Thank you. I need an ending.
You need an ending.
Yeah.
You need an ending. Oh.
How did you go?
You go first.
I got a couple of things.
I'll go first because I only got one. I managed to watch something. Hey! So me and my wife, with our limited time, little man decided to sleep enough for us to watch a movie, and that, my friend, is bliss. For all of those of you who are listening who have little infants, if you do get a chance to watch a movie, that's awesome. And that's it for me. Good night.
I love it. I love it.
No. So he had a nice little sleep, and we decided something. Not because we're watching. Oh no, I'm watching two things. Oh, I'll go one, and then you go one. So you got 7, don't you? Oh, you're off. You've watched fucking 15 things.
No, I've only got 2. I've only got 2 to talk about, so we're good.
So the one I've talked about a little bit before, and I am a massive fan of Christopher Guest films, and I watched again Mascots. Because it's the one
cool.
It's the one I've seen the least of.
Sure.
And I remember it just being fun and just being lovely and cute and some really funny bits. It's not at the caliber of Best in Show or Mighty Wind, which are my two favorites, but it's better than shit, Nicholas, you suck. I'm gonna say consider yourself. No,
for your consideration.
Thank you, Tys.
Which I quite enjoy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really like it. It's about the Oscars.
I liked it as well, but it was missing the talking heads, which is a big thing for me. I love that.
Fair enough.
And this is the reason why I love Christopher Guest films, is because of those things, and I know how he literally puts the camera in front of the actors, goes, all I want you to do is get to here. How you get there is up to you. And that's what I love. Sure. And just watching these actors play, and it's awesome. Mascots is just missing a little something, because I think this is the first that Eugene Levy doesn't have anything to do with.
Oh, okay.
And neither does...
not even in?
No.
Oh, sad.
Yeah. Because normally they write together.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's a really good partnering. Like Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant. They need to do something. I loved Cemetery Junction, man. I love that. That was great.
Cemetery Junction?
No, not Cemetery. Wait, it's coming? No, it's gone.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Really? No? Really?
Yeah. Was it a movie?
Yeah, it's a movie. 2 seconds. But yeah, that's the reason I love those things. It's just it's just so nice. It's great. That's Nick. That's a stupid word. Sorry,
you keep talking. I'll look it up.
You're going to look it up.
I'll look it up. You keep talking about Mascots because I can't.
Cemetery Junction. It is. Look.
All right.
But yeah. It was good. It is good, and it's the characters in it are great. Parker Posey's doing her thing. She's kind of a little bit of the weak link in this one, though.
No, I love Parker Posey,
and I love her too. It's just she was just a little bit of the weak link, but yeah, I love it. Look, it's not as good as the other ones, but it's definitely worth a watch. You know what? It's worth a watch because it's on. I think it's on either Stan or Netflix.
It's a Netflix original.
Yeah, it's Netflix original.
They produced it, I believe.
So yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. And I love him. And I really, really hope that he keeps going and does some other things. I want my Catherine O'Hara back. I love her. I love her so much. I've loved her since Beetlejuice, sorry.
Since the Beatles. Oh, yeah.
Shows how much sleep I've had.
Yeah, she was. She sang backing on fucking.
She loves me. She was the yeah.
Hey, good gig. Good gig. Hey, what's it about?
Immortalized.
What's it about?
Oh, did I not say that?
I don't think so. Maybe I wasn't paying attention.
Sorry. So it's. I love this. So he takes some obscure, like Best in Show. Who could you think and make a movie about a dog show? Really?
Yeah.
But this one is about another competition But it's about who is the best mascot. And so you...
And are they like professional, kinds of professional sports, or is it limited to like a certain
No.
kind?
It doesn't matter about the sport. It matters about the mascot.
Okay, sure.
The sports aren't even mentioned, basically. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. You do get glimpses of some,
Sure.
but no, they're not the point. The point is the character and who's been doing it the longest and what you have with your routine.
Sure.
Which is so awesome.
Great.
You know, and... Yeah, it's just rad. My favorite is the little he's just a character that you're just awkward with, but he's a plumber, and he comes out and he's got
like
a big
Mario style.
like a Mario style. Yeah, he comes out in his big thing and he gets the crowd started. Yeah. They got to do their certain things, and he's got a big toilet and he gets a massive plunger and he's like, and then like a turd comes out. A dancing turd.
Oh, right, okay.
Gold. Yeah, please. You watch it, you will love it. I'm telling you. And my favorite my other favorite is what's his name? Chris O'Dowd plays like the.
Oh, I love Chris O'Dowd.
He plays like the badass of the mascot world.
Sure.
He doesn't.
I feel like that would not be difficult to be the badass of the mascot world.
He doesn't rock up to rehearsals. He doesn't give a fuck. His mascot is called the Fist, which is just basically a fist with arms and legs on it. It's hilarious. And basically his routine is because he's an ice skating mascot.
Right.
He ice skates in this thing and just bashes everyone to pieces.
Punches people.
And then at the end, little spoiler for mascots. Spoiler for mascots. He turns to the judges and the middle finger flicks.
Yeah, it's nice.
Genius. Yeah.
All right.
And he does it.
Yeah, he won me over.
Smashed. Dude.
I'm on it.
It's just a little fun watch.
Oh, look, and I love those guys.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, the first one I want to talk about, I watched. What do I want to talk about first?
Oh, what did you watch?
Let's talk about.
You haven't. Hang on, wait. Let's go back a second while you look that up. You haven't seen Cemetery Junction?
No, I just looked it up then. No.
You would really like that. It's got a little bit of a.
I want to check it out.
It's got a little bit of a Thingo vibe.
A Thingo vibe.
Yeah,
I'm all about a Thingo vibe.
Sing Street.
Oh, it's got a bit of a Sing Street vibe.
Yeah.
All right, I'll check it out. Do you want the one that I liked or the one that I didn't like?
Let's go to the one that you didn't like, and then I'll do my next one. And then
I watched 1988's Scrooged.
Oh,
which
Bill Murray?
Yeah, which
isn't that a Christmas movie?
Yeah, it's the take on A Christmas Carol.
Right. How did that go?
Well, look, it's funny because it used to be something I'd watch a bit as a kid.
Oh, you've seen it before?
Yeah, well, not for like probably 25 years.
Yeah.
Because I remember every now and then it'd be on free-to-air television, and I remembered very clearly The Ghost of Christmas Future because I was scared of it as a kid.
Oh, nice. What was it?
It's like just a big Grim Reaper looking dude, but when you lift his shirt, it's got like souls screaming through his ribcage.
Decent.
Which that's fun. So yeah, it's a comedic take on A Christmas Carol.
Sure.
Bill Murray's playing the
Ebenezer?
Scrooge kind of role. He's got a completely different name though.
Ebenezer.
Frank Cross.
Such a great.
In this.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, so because in this reality,
Right.
A Christmas Carol exists. So he plays a television executive, and they're producing a live version of A Christmas Carol on Christmas Eve. They're running it through their studio. And he's just a terrible human being, basically.
Yeah.
He fires this dude on Christmas. Obviously, it follows the fucking story. We all know the story. He fires some dude. He treats some other people really badly.
Like
His
shit.
receptionist, he treats her like shit and all this
Goes
kind
to
of
sleep
stuff.
that night. And three
And
ghosts
well,
come.
actually, it never happens quite as simply as that.
Oh.
It all kind of happens in his office. He gets visited by like the zombified corpse of one of the old owners of the studio, who tells him, "Yeah, you're going to be visited by the ghosts." The ghosts come in different forms. Like one of them's a crazy cab driver. One's an angel, but like it's played by Carol Kane, so it's real kind of like Brooklyn, Jersey kind of angel thing, and she just beats the shit out of him all the time. It's a very strange movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't all work. Some of it works. There are some moments that you laugh at, but generally I found it just to be them just really just hoping that the energy will get past the fact that it's not actually a very funny script. There aren't really jokes in it anywhere. Occasionally, Bill Murray will do something inspired, and you're just like, God, he's just so...
He's so good. You could put him in anything.
You could put him in anything, and he's just got this spontaneous energy that is so unpredictable, and he'll just move his body in a certain way, or just use a facial expression, or deliver a line in a way that you would just never have thought to deliver it. And so that kind of, you coast by on enough of that kind of goodwill. Yeah. Bobcat Goldthwait is in it.
Yes.
Doing his kind of thing. Where you're just like, all right, man, calm down.
I love him. Come on.
Like he's all right in
Bobcat Goldthwait.
Police Academy 4 or whatever the fuck one.
Let's do the best of them.
Oh, Jesus. That's going to be a commitment that we'd have to watch 7. Is it 7?
Is it 7
Police Academy movies?
I don't care. I'm in.
Oh,
come on.
Yeah, and one of the funny things about this is it's actually directed by Richard Donner.
Oh.
Right? So...
let me do that again. Take 2, Nicholas.
And it just does not feel like a Richard Donner movie at all.
Rich.
It kind of feels like he's pretending to be like Joe Dante. Like it's his version. He's doing an impersonation always. It's like if I made a Joe Dante or a Ivan Reitman film, this is what I would think it would look like.
Oh, okay.
But it just doesn't work. He doesn't quite get
Does Richard do comedy? What's other comedy that Richard does?
What if there's been Donner comedies? The Richard Donner directed episode of Tales from the Crypt I really liked, and that was that had a kind of an interesting tone to it. I thought, but
not really many comedies.
No, there's very little comedies in there.
Goonies is not really a comedy, but kind of.
The Toy.
The Lethal Weapon movies have comedy in them, but they're not comedy movies.
No. So yeah, I'm going to go out. I'm going to go out and say Richard Donner, not a comedy director.
Okay.
And this
That's
year,
okay. That's fine.
Look, it's hit and miss. I think if it was one of those things that was like a Christmas tradition when you were younger, you would find a lot to like in it. Otherwise, I would probably say it's not worth it. And also, the finale is really troubling.
Do you think this is going to come up later? I'm 95% sure.
Sure.
Do you think there are movies, especially with us from the 80s, that we watched when we were kids or grew up watching or knew of them, and they were stuck in our minds, and we're like you just said then, they watch it as like, oh, I'm going to watch, what is it? Scrooged. I'm going to watch that because, we used to watch it when we were growing up. And people are like, well, that's not a very good movie. And they're like, well, I love it. Yeah, because you grew up with it.
Yeah, I'm in. The nostalgic kind of appreciation of films is I get behind that 100%. There are movies that I know are balls that I will watch over and over and over again because they were my movies when I was a kid.
I like A Quest for Peace, man. It's shit, but
I will watch any of those Superman movies any day of the week. I'm with you. So that's why I reckon for some people this would be like a Christmas tradition, and they would find they will laugh at certain moments because they know it's coming, and it's like, oh, this is when he does this funny thing, or this is when he makes that stupid face. But if you're coming to it for a first time, I think there's probably better adaptations of that story. I'd even go as far to say like watch A Muppet Christmas Carol or something like that, because
you can't go past it
because that's fucking awesome.
My favorite.
Yeah,
Rat Trap, baby.
Huh?
Or is it Rat Trap? No, Rat. Oh, I forget.
I
know Land Before Time knowledge. I know nothing else.
That's it. That's all you got in your head. The 3 character names from Land Before Time. That's it.
Nicholas.
It's just on Netflix. So if you're bored and you want a Christmas movie that is a little bit different, you could give that a watch. But I don't thoroughly recommend it.
Yeah, fair deal.
Moving on.
Just quickly,
sure.
I haven't finished because I'm only 4 episodes in.
Oh, 2.
To Mindhunter.
Oh, yeah, Finch of Fun.
My man Finch. And look, it's got a hell of a start, a nice intro. It gets you, it hooks that right in here, and just pulls you along. And like, oh
Nick
wow,
just
this is
put his finger in his mouth in case anyone couldn't quite tell what he did. Then he made like a fish hook. He actually fish hooked himself.
It was a nice start, and it was really good. And it's about serial killers. It's set in the 70s,
right.
and the storyline is that it's you know what it is. It's the origin story for finding out when they discovered that they should be studying the serial killers that they've caught.
Right.
To the behavioral science behind finding a serial killer.
Correct.
And, because someone has to be the first one to break the first egg. You kind of... Is that a saying? Who cares?
It is now.
And so the main character's, coming up against a lot of barriers, but he's trying to make a lot of leeway. It's awesome. It's Fincher. Right. It's great. All the elements of this thing is just going to be really, really great. I'm really looking forward to it ending. My one qualm is the fact that the main fucking character I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't. For starters, so he's played by Jonathan Groff. I don't know who he is.
Jonathan Groff?
Groff, yeah. Anyone?
The music theatre.
Anyone on the floor?
Star Jonathan Groff.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Oh, he was Kristoff in Frozen. But yeah, for starters, his character name is Holden Ford. Now, if you live in Australia, that is a really fucking stupid name. That is really fucking stupid. So whenever he says his full name, I'm like, oh, well, I'm pulled out of this fucking thing, haven't I? You know.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I find his character just too fucking nice or something. Smart. I just don't like him. You know.
Is it deliberately a flawed character, or is it maybe?
No, he's not even flawed. I like flawed.
Yeah, is it more just?
It's just that he's too green. Is that it? I don't know. I was trying to pinpoint it all day because I wanted to talk about it tonight, but I can't put my finger on why I don't like him. If someone has seen this thing, write in and tell me why I don't like him. If you don't like him, it's just something about him. Like, dude, you need to. I don't know whether it's the actor doing a bad performance or whether it's how they've written this character. And for some reason, I feel that if you were to put a character with different sets of goals or different a different arc to have or something like that, it would have been better. Rather than the way that this character's been written, I feel that it's just a little bit of a waste.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. It really kills me.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to watch it. It's Fincher.
Yeah. No, look, that's an interesting kind of maybe topic for another day as well. Like, excellent like premises for films that with disappointing character, like
one character
audience. Because
you
want your main character to be like an audience surrogate most of the time. So if you really like the premise but you don't like the main character, how does that affect your enjoyment of it?
Which is a little controversial, but the reason why I loved House of Cards is because I wanted him to win.
Yeah, sure.
I wanted him to win.
Yeah. Well, it's a compelling character.
Yeah.
I mean, no one can really deny that.
Yeah, exactly.
What a piece of shit, though. All right, and the next...
Moving on.
The next one I'm going to talk about. I finally saw Hail Caesar. Coen Brothers' Hail Caesar. And I really liked it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I had an exceptionally good time watching it.
Nice.
I watched it, and it was a very warm night last night, if anyone remembers. I actually watched it last night, and in the gross heat, and I still enjoyed the fuck out of it. I thought it was a really great time. I'd heard it was people not loving it as a Coen Brothers film.
Yeah.
And
I was in that category.
Well,
but that's because I would like a second watch.
Sure.
Yeah. I didn't like Oh Brother We're Out That when I first watched it either.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I really loved it. It's fun, but in a way that like they've got such a handle on screwball comedy because they do it in a way that almost like it's disguised so well that I think it's like if you're not in on it or if you don't go into it with an awareness that it's going to be a screwball comedy, you can almost get through that whole movie thinking it's serious.
Yeah.
But there are things.
There's
just bits that I just laughed out loud at that I couldn't help it. Because it's so ridiculous. Some of the things these people say to each other, and that's what they do really well. I think is they just find this way for the dialogue to have this like explosion moment where it takes my brain like a split second to process just how ridiculous what they've said to each other is.
About.
And I burst out loud laughing.
Are you talking about the scene where he's trying to direct the actor?
There's plenty of that kind of stuff. But I mean, that's the flat out funniest scene in it, I reckon.
Absolutely.
Like I can't bring to mind anything exactly, but some of the conversations that Josh Brolin's character has with with anybody really.
Yeah.
Just every now and then there'll be a little sentence that drops or a little statement that's made, and it just makes me crack up.
Yeah.
But Ray Fiennes trying to direct Alden Elric. What's his last name? He's got a crazy last name. Soon to be Han Solo. Eldon.
Oh, I'm going to say Elric.
Eldon Elric.
Elric.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to see it again because I went in, I think, wanting to love this.
Sure.
Really wanting to love this and maybe put it up on the pedestal a bit too much. With that cast, how the fuck could I not?
It's a great cast.
You know, and yeah. So, yeah, it just needs a second watching for me. I know I'll come around.
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, and his performance as well as the good-natured young actor...
Elric?
Yeah. What is he? I'm going to get his actor's name. Everyone has the most glorious names in this film.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. What are the Coens doing now? They're doing a mini-series, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
That sounds so Coen Brothers.
2018. Look out, motherfuckers.
Yeah, everyone's names are just glorious. Come on, where is his name? His name is
Hobie
Doyle.
Oh, Hobie.
Love it. And then you've got George Clooney playing Baird Whitlock.
I love that.
The old-time classic star in the vein of like the Clark Gable or the Cary Grant kind of style thing.
So good. My favourite was CeCe Calhoun.
Love it. Loved it.
So good.
And so good. And
how did you watch this? Is it streamable?
I was just on Foxtel.
Oh, nice. So
yeah,
it's streamable. Cool.
What was I going to say? There was something else I was going to say. Oh, and there was a lot of talk about an extremely cleverly filmed and staged musical number that I was just kind of like, oh yeah, that'll be fun when I get to it. Yeah. And it is legitimately, you need to see it to believe it. Like, it is so well put together.
It's pretty lovely.
It's amazing. The choreography is just stunning. And like, special shout out. I know this film did get a lot of kind of people with a bit shocked that it wasn't nominated for cinematography at the Oscars. I know that it was a lot of kind of pundits almost safe bet when you've got Roger Deakins and the scenes of the films that they are watching, and actually the filming process of them when they're on set. It's the most convinced I've ever been of dating film ever. Right. I reckon. You know when you watch old-timey film in things and you're like, no, you just filmed that yesterday and put like an Instagram filter on this shit.
App. Yeah, that's an app.
Yeah, and it doesn't look right. I've never been more close to being legitimately fooled. They just got the colours perfect.
Well, it's Coen's. It could be film, you realise?
No, but it's more than just that. It's not just going and using the old film, because that happens a lot of times. You can do that, but there's just it's a combination of so many different things, capturing the exact same colour, the exact same kind of frame choices, the not even just the acting styles, but just the way that the people hold themselves while they're being filmed.
The shots are very, almost like all dolly shots or standalones.
And I was watching talking about that scene where Ray Fiennes was directing him, watching the girl that he performs against. And this is not, it's not meant to be shown as this is the film we're watching. It's while they're actually filming it, while they're rehearsing it. You looked at her and she looked straight out of a film from the 40s, like just the way, and it was more than just, oh, she's dressed right. They did the perfect stuff with her makeup and they colorized her in a way that just made it look legitimately like someone had technicolored the shots. And so I was very, very impressed by that. I thought it was very cool. That's awesome. Disappointed that it didn't get a little bit more love last year in the end.
It really didn't. Because I thought it would have blown everyone away.
Yeah, it was just everyone kind of just went, yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, it's Coen's. They kind of,
they do set the bar high.
They set the bar.
Yeah.
All right.
Shall we move on to our feature prez?
Just after this short musical interlude.
And now for our feature presentation.
Well, we're talking Love Actually. 2003. What a year.
Was it really?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, it was an all right year.
It was an all right year?
I turned 21 in 2003.
Yeah,
I did.
Wow, that's weird.
What's your relationship to this movie?
Oh,
did you see it at the cinemas?
I didn't. No, I was late to the game.
I definitely saw this at the cinemas.
Oh, really?
I was in
all
the hoopla.
Interesting.
I was all about it.
Well, this is why I. Oh, okay. No. No, I saw this at the not at the video store. This is way after that. I don't know when I saw this for the first time. I really don't. It probably was on free-to-air television. Oh, I don't remember the first time I saw this. That's sad.
What was your initial reaction?
I loved it. I've always loved this movie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I've always loved it.
I liked it when I first saw it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've just become
I hate it. Like,
old and cynical.
Yeah, I hated it today.
You hate this fucking movie.
I hated it.
Oh, this is going to be a conversation. Buckle in. We are in fifth gear, ladies and gentlemen. Fuck me. Okay.
Yeah. So you still love it?
Well, I love it.
Okay.
I do. Well, I remove... It's
going to be a problem. This is going to be fun.
No, but that's fine. I remove myself. This isn't... You can't... For me, I love this movie because you can't think of this movie as a serious movie. This movie isn't something that you can sit down, which we are going to sit down and criticize.
Sure.
But you can't, to some extent, you kind of have to let it just wash over you. And it does have its faults, yes, but what movie doesn't have its faults?
Yeah, look, I mean, what I find really frustrating about it is that I think that it's far too fondly remembered.
Yeah.
Right? So there are many movies very similar to this that I think just have some very good actors doing some, like, just trying to handle some awful material. And doing a pretty good job of it and getting away with it, and meaning that we can, in the moment of the film, and this is back then, not anymore, like I had real trouble, like I was drawn away from this film a lot, but back then, in the moment of the film, I would just appreciate and enjoy and then move on. But because of this film's incredible longevity, it forces you to then say, all right, cool, well then why do we love it so much? And when you start doing that, it's when it really kind of reveals itself as really quite awful. And like kind of like if we're going to kind of talk about where we are at the moment
it's
politically,
quite misogynist.
It's awful in a lot of ways. Its female characters are like just treated like absolute shit.
Absolutely.
And it kind of makes it hard to enjoy it on any level now for me. I get really uncomfortable watching it today.
Okay.
Because I just found it so like.
So just watch it
blind
once.
to any kind of cultural sensitivity.
Yeah,
I think
it was 2003.
Yeah, but that excuse works in certain ways. I think like there's a moment where Tweedle Ejiofor.
Tweedle, you did this last week. I was listening, and you and Nicole were like, I was like, no, Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Chiwetel. Yeah, thank you.
That's okay.
Is wearing a shirt, like a brown shirt that has like weird like gold splatters just down a sleeve and a little bit. And I'm like, oh, I had a shirt like that in 2003. That's when you're allowed to go, oh, but it was 2003.
Exactly.
Like, of course he gets away with a shirt like that.
That's horrible.
But some of the other stuff, I don't think we should use that as an excuse anymore. I think it kind of starts to get a bit old when it's like, oh, but it was 2000. Times were different. I'm like, yeah, times were different, but now we're still... No, but why don't we put this movie in the bin then and say, you know what, it's not cool anymore.
That's why I brought up what I said before, is because when people watch this, much like we do of the movies of the 80s, when we were talking about Scrooged, they have good memories of this movie.
Sure.
And oh, I love this bit. They're not going to take it that seriously and go, oh my God, Emma Thompson, what the fuck are you still doing with him?
No, and so, yeah. There are other films that have problematic moments in them, of course.
Yeah.
There are films that you watch that you end up, you'll be coasting through the whole thing, and then there's an awful moment of misogyny, right?
Yep.
But then you're like, what the fuck? Okay, cool. We've talked about this before. There's like the prevalent use of the F-bomb in movies around the late 80s as like a derogatory term.
Hang on a minute. You're talking about the F-bomb that is the...
not fuck, because we say that all the time.
No, I know that.
Other one.
Some people don't know. You know what? You can think about it. There you go.
It's the plural for a
F-bomb.
bunch of sticks bundled together.
Yeah.
And you'll come across that in a film, and it will be jarring and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then you'll move through it, because it's an insult. It's not a character-defining... screenwriter defining trait that makes you kind of question everybody's motives.
But nowadays, when they use that F-bomb, they use it, a director will use it or a writer will use it to make the audience they use it to make an audience hate that character now.
Well, you can only use it for that way now.
Yeah.
In many cases, I would agree with you. It felt like a bridge too far in this one.
Really?
I felt like I was...
Is it because you've seen this too much now?
No, I've only probably seen it 2 or 3 times.
Oh, okay.
I think today might have been the 3rd time I've seen it.
Right.
Yeah. And those first 2 times, I think both times, because it would have been 2003 and then probably relatively close after that, I was fine with it. And I was always just kind of like, well, that was just what it was. It's fine.
You don't think this is somewhat art imitating life? And it's happy that we've moved on from this point now. Like I can look back and go, it's okay. We're no longer at that point anymore.
And it's of course, it's great that we are far more aware of that on the whole. But the problem is that very few of the stories, and I'm careful not to say any of them because
we can
go through them. But very few of them aren't tainted in some way by that. And so when I try to find positives out of it, I end up hitting a roadblock every time. When it's like, oh, but the Bill Nighy, because it's like a friendship between, it's a male friendship between thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he had to make the gag about banging Britney Spears and that she was rubbish. And in 2003, Britney Spears was probably not
in the best place
19 or
either.
20.
Yeah.
So we're talking like,
2003 was she shaved her head.
Yeah. Why do we need to? Why does that need to be
the
gag?
Down.
And so that was jarring. And it's like, okay, well, that kind of taints a lot of his character element stuff now.
Yeah.
You know, and what's like any of the examples we can pick any of them.
Yeah. We'll get to them. We'll get to them. But
so,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So it became a frustrating experience more than anything else.
Okay.
But I don't find it funny. I think I chuckled maybe twice.
Come on, you got to find some bits funny.
Like I like the things that the kid
and
has
he's
written.
got a big knob.
Well, do you know what? I mean, to me, that whole story is...
That's a fantasy, though. That is not... Most of these storylines are not set in reality.
No.
That's the thing for me.
But
So watching this movie, I am not putting this on the same shelf as Blue Valentine.
No, of course.
You know, and saying, no, well, this wouldn't... Obviously, a guy going overseas randomly to use his accent to get him laid is not going to fucking happen. And the fact that they don't have pajamas in one bed is just fucking ridiculous. You know, it's just funny. It's using it for the joke.
But what's the joke?
It's the joke that...
What is the joke?
The joke is that he would try it. And, you know, he's going to... It's funny because it's a dream. And he succeeded hilariously
enough. He's such garbage that he only serves hors d'oeuvres to good-looking people and decides that he's so much better than everyone in Britain that he's going to go to America where they'll respect him.
He's a dick.
Yeah, he's a big piece of shit.
Yeah.
And so I can't have a gag out of that.
It's pretty funny.
I don't know. It's like it's like the In-Betweeners, but without the irony.
Yeah.
And
without the fact that they're nerds, yeah.
Like, because In-Betweeners understand that. So one of the characters from In-Betweeners would do this.
Yeah.
Would do exactly that.
He totally would.
But it's ironic. It's ironic because we step away from it and the writers step away from it and make sure that we're aware that it's misguided.
Yeah.
He gets everything he wants. He's rewarded for being a fucking piece of shit. And so it's like, okay then, good on him, I guess.
Guy's a piece of shit, though.
Good.
We know this.
So what's the message? Be a big fucking turd and you'll get to have a foursome with hot American chicks?
Well, hopefully not a lot of guys are watching this movie.
Everyone watches this movie. This is the thing. Everybody watches it. And everyone's like, good on him. He fucked all those chicks. And it's like, what? What are we doing? He's garbage. Anyway.
It's not like he abused them. They were up for it.
No.
They were like, come back to mine.
Look, and that's a writer. A writer gave them these personalities.
Yeah.
And a writer sat there and said, this would be really funny for these four, or three at that point, American chicks to dig him to the point. Like, because I didn't remember that scene perfectly in my head. I kept waiting for it to be like, we're going to tie you up and steal your shit. Or, or some kind of, have you got, like some kind of pyramid scam.
Yeah.
Just come back to our house and there's a guy sitting there trying to sell him, a condo for 3 weeks every year. You know what I mean? Because that's what makes sense.
Yeah.
And then it ends with them actually doing it. I'm like,
because it's a fantasy.
what are we doing?
Yeah,
what are we doing here? Yeah, like for who? For him? It's a fantasy for one jerk of a guy. It's not really,
It's a funny story.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Written now. Now it's not going to play. Like you said, like you don't have it's not the satirizing of that comedy or it's not him selling Amway in the end and coming back all broken and fucked,
Yeah. I don't see the purpose. And I get, if it's a funny story, then great, but it serves no overall purpose to the movie other than, I don't know, a distraction from the other kind of unoriginal,
but there's
unexciting
probably
stories.
3 or 2 main stories to this, and all the others for me are filler. Like they're all just little gags that don't make any sense that are just there for you to have a quick laugh and then get back to the original narrative.
And they do sometimes kind of end up just acting as kind of skits.
The porn stand-ins, that's not a legit storyline. That's just, look at them, they're naked and they have to, hilariously enough, the guy who's doing the lighting is getting lighting off her nipples, which obviously would not fucking happen at all.
Yeah.
And they're just...
What are they filming? They filming a porno?
Yeah, they're filming a porn.
Why do you need stand-ins for porno?
You don't. That's a gag.
So what are they? So they're making a porno?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a classy one. The setting
is classy.
It's very lovely.
They've spent a lot of money on this.
I
guarantee that's the first time in the history of the world
think it's a porn?
that a guy with one of those light measurement things has
the assistant director has to come up and say, "Oh, can you massage the breasts?"
Well, there's a weird bit when he said I was standing in for Brad Pitt once, and so I was kind of like, okay.
Yeah, so he's a nude stand-in.
this is the vibe I'm getting is that they're making like a prestige picture that just happens to have a lot of nudity in it, and they're the stand-ins for it.
No, I thought it was a porn.
Well, that's what
It's
I think.
definitely a
That's
porn.
what I think. I think that's the cheap gag. But then they realize that that would never happen in a porno. So let's try and I don't know.
You think
I can't. Well, you can't. I mean, I can't. You can't have me accept like some parts as fantasies, and then just the devastating moments of like Liam Neeson's wife dying, and in the same universe. I think it's
You can't have a fantasy and a reality in the one movie?
Well, I mean, you can do that, but it's not going to make a good movie. Like that's what I mean. Like saying that it is the fantasy, I'm like, all right then, but that's a piece of shit then.
But that's the fantasy part of this movie, and then you get back to some of the other things.
But
they're
all related,
realistic.
and it's all intertwining.
Yeah,
so
that's the one bit I don't like. I don't like that. I think they should have been all individual stories around the one town or something. You know,
maybe
not related to one another, because in this, so. That's the one thing they go there, and I've never gotten it before, and I was trying to watch it this time. So if Emma Thompson is the sister of the Prime Minister, then who is Liam Neeson to Emma Thompson? Is it the sister-in-law? Or is that a sister as well?
They're just friends, I think.
They're just friends?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I think she might have been friends with the wife.
The wife, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some of them feel pretty forced.
Yeah.
I
think that's a
and some of them aren't even explained. It's just kind of like, oh, hey, we know each other, and they shake hands, and it's like, oh, okay, sure,
at the end.
Yeah. Isn't it lovely that we all know each other and stuff?
Well, it's a small world.
Yeah, it is. Look, it's. I actually don't mind the intertwining story stuff. Like, I think because you do get to see, you do get to see some of the characters in alternate kind of relationships, so that you can see how they react to different people.
Yeah.
I think initially feeling like that Emma Thompson and Liam Neeson might kind of develop something in the memory of his wife, like kind of like he'll learn that he can move on, but then it's revealed that she's actually married to Alan Rickman, who's we met when he was who gets the most unceremonious introduction. Like every other character in this film gets like a ladies and gentlemen. Fucking
Hugh Grant.
Ladies and gentlemen, the guy from Walking Dead that in 10 years.
Yeah,
and then
he looks horrible, by the way.
He's a weird.
Yeah.
He doesn't look right when he's this young, does he?
Yeah.
And then they just open the door and it's Alan Rickman, and it's kind of like,
Alan Rickman.
How long is this movie going for? Thanks, Alan Rickman. Welcome.
Hi, Alan Rickman.
Welcome.
Totally.
Welcome.
But I think what's hard, like watching it this time, and I was talking about it with Sam, is that it's to try and have a full narrative with even one of these storylines is going to be too hard because there are way too many characters. And so what you're getting is nice little snippets of each character of each storyline.
Yeah, you do. Like I think the amount of screen time per character is probably at a reasonable ratio to my interest in them.
Yeah.
Yeah? Like, I think...
They hold it for just enough.
Yeah. I think of the storylines that potentially I could give a rat's ass about, they have the most screen time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that you do give a rat's ass about. Yeah,
so I think they've timed that relatively well. What ends up happening, though, is that in each of those circumstances, aside from maybe the Alan Rickman, Emma Thompson one, is that we're talking about a movie where we are meant to be experiencing people falling in love with each other, and we don't see it. We see a meeting and a weird interaction that maybe is like it's like a flirty conversation, and then everyone's in love with each other.
Right.
Because if you took any of those one individual stories, you probably get maybe 10 to 12 minutes of screen time if it was just purely that story.
Yeah.
And you can't tell an effective cinematic love story in that time.
No, you can't. No.
So we have to kind of suspend our disbelief a little bit, and we have to have the goodwill of that. I don't believe any of the relationships, so the goodwill kind of goes out the door because it's kind of like, okay, well, you're not giving me any reason.
You don't believe Laura Linney? Laura Linney is
an extremely great actress. And
gold.
And what she has to do is good, but what her storyline is I guess like one of the better ones if I had to put a title on it, because it seems like it is a kind of one of the more mature things that people deal with.
Yeah.
You know, in the wake of, you know, having to deal with someone with mental illness, you know, it obviously would affect
not only
your
but
other relationships.
But trying to just have the courage to say how you feel, you know. Yeah?
Yeah.
No?
It's fucking... My problem is because it's also, like, it's Laura Linney, and I'm like...
I love Laura Linney.
That's what I mean.
Come on.
Like, Laura Linney is, like...
Is wasted here.
Is a queen among us plebs. Yeah. You know what I mean? And, you know, the fact that she can't talk to somebody is ludicrous.
Oh,
like,
really?
You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
hilarious.
and I get it, because people play characters and stuff like that, but it's still Laura Linney, and so I you know, and it's the same...
Right.
Like, what's with fucking calling Natalie fat all the time? She's gorgeous.
She's amazing.
She's like
Why
absolutely
isn't
beautiful.
She in more things?
Yeah,
I want her in more things.
and I'm like, are we kidding? And I'm like, what are we doing? Is this like?
But that's one of my favorite lines. Like, he even makes fun of it. He goes, "Oh, do we call her chubby?" No, you don't.
No, but I was stuck thinking I was giving the filmmakers too much credit and thinking maybe that it was like a shallow Hal situation.
Oh, right.
And like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
at some point we'd see her in a mirror and she would actually be quite large.
Yeah.
But no, I think that just they're like, oh, well, yeah, no, let's find someone who's kind of like, well, I don't get it. Like, if you, for one, if you're going to, I mean, don't say those things, like, because it's not funny. So why put them in a movie? But two, if they are going to be in the script, like, why cast her? She's nowhere near that.
Yeah, but I think that's the point. One of them, that's the point. And two, people do say these things. People are assholes.
Yeah, but so what are we watching? Are we watching a fun romantic comedy, or am I fucking watching The Accused? Like, I don't know what I'm meant to be watching.
I know, but
I don't want to laugh at that.
It's about different acts of love. You know, it's not all, and you're not gonna. It's not 100% every single minute is going to be about love and all of that stuff. You're going to get the contrast to what's happening. People aren't nice. Like
I'm pretty
her
uncomfortable, like,
and,
laughing in a
and
movie
Billy
like
Bob
that.
Thornton and the secretary or whatever is trying to steal a married man and all that stuff. These are mean things to watch, you know. But out of them, you're getting a love interaction. There is nothing in this that says it was a romantic comedy. It's a movie about love, not a romantic comedy per se.
Oh, but it's light and
billed
breezy
as,
and
it's
fun,
billed as,
like,
and it's Christmassy and lovely, and there are kids in it, and it's really cool.
So I don't think billing is irrelevant, because that's within the first 10 minutes of this film, you're riding a wave of British fun and laughter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think you can. I think it's now referred to as a romantic comedy because it's meant to be a romantic comedy.
I think it's referred to as a romantic comedy because they didn't know how else to bill it, to categorize it. You know, yes, it is a comedy.
Sure.
Yeah. I would just say it's a comedy. Flat. That's it. There are romantic elements in it, but not all of them.
Oh,
are.
well, the comedy part is the part that I have the most concern with, because
You don't
three
like
quarters
it.
of this I don't want to laugh at. I'm
Yeah.
kind of like, you know, I find it uncomfortable to laugh at that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
But that's a good thing. That's where you are now. That's where we are now.
yeah, yeah, of course.
And that's why I was saying, like, watching this, I think this movie, what you were saying before, is this movie has, for some reason, everyone likes it, is because they watched it back in 2003 or 4 or 5 or whenever they watched it, and they're like, oh yeah, that is a nice movie. Let's watch that again.
Yeah, I get what
just
you're
don't
saying.
look into it too deeply.
Yeah, there's not a lot of movies that from my childhood that I still love, that I find socially irresponsible though, and still love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think there's a certain time where we've just got to put some stuff to bed and say, I don't think it's cool to still
Like that.
To still like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I think like acknowledging that that there's some really tacky kind of grade level storytelling technique, or really shitty special effects, or there's that one bit where, you know, it's an 80s movie, so someone stares into a female bathroom.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So, but
that happens, and it's like, okay, cool, that's shit. Can we just get past that and continue the rest of the movie that I used to watch as a kid? This whole film is those moments to me. I think weighing up the nice, actual, genuine moments of people not being awful to each other,
Yep.
or not, but generally men just being awful, to truthful moments, I think one pile far outweighs the other. And so it's kind of like,
you can't enjoy the movie.
I think it's just kind of like, well, hey, you know, that ratio is way too far off why don't we just put it to bed? Why don't we find ourselves another movie to fucking get obsessed about over Christmas?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
fair deal.
it might be time. Like, it might be time to find something else. Because I don't want people watching this for the first time.
But did you like it the first time you watched it?
I didn't like it. I came out and was just...
Oh, yeah,
it was just like, it was whatever. It was another British comedy.
Yeah.
And it's British as fuck, this thing.
Yeah.
Like, it looks... It's the same problem that I have with a lot of these. I don't know if it's Richard Curtis or if it's just that era. They all look like shit.
Yeah.
Like...
it looks like a period piece. I'll give it that. This is one of the first things I wrote down, especially with what they wear and how it's shot and everything like that.
There's nothing... Like, the colours are just all foul and gross, and there's not an ounce of creativity to the way anything is staged or shot. And like every now and then, like I think the pageant at the end uses a bit of color and scope quite nicely. Everything else just looks like a kind of a episode of fucking Ballykiss Angel or some shit. Like
it was his first film, though.
Yeah,
first film
that's fine.
Give it a shot.
Yeah, he's given it a shot. It doesn't mean that his director of photography is his first time. He could be sitting there going,
That's
"Hey
true.
man, we're just gonna maybe soften the lighting a little bit here so it doesn't look like every shot's in a hospital. Like, we're just gonna try and make a movie. We're not gonna try and make a
7-Eleven ad.
Or exactly, or like a pilot to a TV show that we're hoping gets picked up.
Yeah.
That we're trying to do on the cheap.
Yeah, fair deal.
Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be a hard one because I'm not going to get turned around on this.
No,
one.
I know you're not. That's fine. I'm not trying to turn you around.
There's some. Why don't I try and find some nice things to talk about?
Go on. You're not going to find any.
No, I had a few. I did have a few. I like when Liam Neeson's talking to his kid about the girl that he has a crush on, and without knowing, and very subtly and without calling attention to it,
could be a guy.
Says she
or
he,
yeah,
and keeps going.
Totally.
I liked that.
I did like that.
That was a truthful moment. It didn't linger on it. It didn't make a big deal of it. It didn't try to make a joke of it. I thought it was classy.
That's true.
Sorry,
I'm reading my notes, everyone.
But this is, I like the use of... No, I didn't like... I found the use of Dido hilarious. Oh,
God.
When he walks out the house.
I used to like that fucking song, but ads have ruined that song.
Dido.
Dido.
Oh, fucking Dido.
Yes,
What else?
Come on, Rowan Atkinson. Come on.
Oh, look, he's funny in that one scene.
But this whole movie is one scenes.
Yeah. And
Come on.
It's Rowan Atkinson is fine. He does a good job. I wouldn't say like it's good for in that moment. I was more distracted by the soundtrack in that scene that was making it like a thriller.
Oh yeah, but because
it was doing
she's coming. Oh my god. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but okay, like it's actually kind of depressing what he's doing, and it's a bit sad. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You were thinking about what Alan Rickman is doing while Rowan Atkinson's making his comedy magic.
It's bad filmmaking,
Good
because someone made the choice to make it that way, and that's a bad choice.
Oh, fair deal.
So I get kind of caught up in that.
Yeah.
And like I like that it's drawn out and it keeps trying to do new things and stuff like that, and then he ends up just going, oh fuck, don't worry about it. But it's another moment that's played for laughs that I kind of think, oh, I don't know if playing for that for laughs is the right way to go.
Yeah.
If you want to tackle that subject seriously,
yeah,
maybe that was not the time. Or like it's like find the joke moments in it. Like a good moment of comedy. If you want to use comedy to reflect on something like that, you have the comedic moment, and then it snaps into having to face the realism of it, or the realistic consequences of it. But that scene just ends. Like he just goes, "Don't worry about it," and they walk out of the place.
Yeah.
So it's
you need something after.
You
that
needed something. You needed
to flavor it.
Yeah.
That's true. You didn't like the Colin Firth and I always forget how to say her name. The Portuguese girl.
No, I didn't like that very much.
Didn't like that?
I liked some of their interactions, but I think it got pretty old pretty quick.
Like that isn't one of my favorite storylines, but in that way, that ratio where he's misogyny being the root of all evil.
I liked
their storyline is okay.
It's sweet in a way that is kind of
he goes fuck
naive
his Christmas. I'm gonna go see the girl that I like,
and kind of innocent in a way.
Yeah.
I think their miscommunications to begin with is kind of cute, and then just gets kind of old a bit.
It does.
Quickly.
You realise that they have no time with the film, and they're like, "Okay, we need to make this scene 3 minutes."
I don't like how they almost make it seem like he doesn't realise she's attractive until she takes her clothes off. I got a little bit kind of put off by that. And this is what I mean. There's a moment in every story that makes you go, oh, well, you just fucked up the rest of that now, didn't you? Because really, until that point, there's awkwardness, and they kind of bump, but she's dressed all frumpy and with jumpers and shit. And then, you know, like she's wearing like 3 cardies and a jacket and like old maid skirts and stuff. And then, she, you know, which, you know,
that's true. That's what we get in the film.
wind.
But he does say that, you know, that driving her home is the best part of his day.
Look,
so,
but,
you know,
I mean,
he's had the attraction more than just her seeing
so the
her
attraction
naked,
is coming, but this is in that instant
to jump it in. Yeah,
if we're assuming that the camera is choosing to use Colin Firth's POV for that moment,
sure,
it's like it might as well do Sylvester fucking eyes out the front, because it's like out of nowhere she strips off and he's like, oh damn it, like fucking.
Yeah, but
that
is
shit.
a natural chemical reaction.
Look, I'm not saying it's not, but it's dependent on that.
You could go in a nicer way, is what you're trying to say.
I think even Richard Curtis is kind of saying, oh, let's make sure the audience knows that she looks hot without her clothes on.
Yeah, and I think Richard Curtis is to blame for I'm not blaming the actors at all. I'm saying I'm blaming Richard Curtis 100%. And I really like the moment where he says, when that's one of the sweet moments. This is my favorite part. That's my saddest part. It's actually a really sweet moment. It just feels really tainted because previously, from the second before, it had been aruga, and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, he's typing. It wasn't that bad.
It was kind of constructed. It was so heavily constructed.
It was
to
a quick,
get her
fleeting moment, and she jumped in the water.
It's pretty bad.
It's not bad.
Pretty
it's
bad.
Not that bad.
I reckon it's like it's Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh,
it's
not that bad.
And what was I going to say? But you know, it's constructed really kind of poorly as well, because I mean, like he's typing out in the wind.
Yeah, that whole thing is,
like,
dude.
I'm like, if you really care, you wouldn't just
put
a bottle down on your
comedy.
paper. I'm like, come on, like it's just
you're reading it too far into it, Tyson.
But I think it's like once you kind of get in that zone, though, once you're like, oh no, I'm not
you're
liking
there
this
from the start.
You end up
this is where you're coming from the start.
It's actually really nice. The opening voiceover is one of the nicest things that happens in this
has
movie.
you.
There's real people, and the way Hugh Grant, it's a true statement. You know, it's that's that you get to see people in the moment of arrival and departure. You get to see the two truest kind of moments of love, because you get to see when they know they're not going to see them for a while, and when they finally get to see them back again. And the 9/11 thing's a bit weird, and it sticks out like dog's balls, and it's like, oh, okay. But the rest of the sentiment is beautiful, and I'm like,
it hooks you.
I watched it, and I was like, damn, maybe I'm wrong about this fucking film.
And then all of a sudden, love is all around.
Well, because that's kind of funny, like Bill Nye just doing that thing. I remember finding that funny in the cinema. The first thing where I really got turned around was, the wedding reception with fucking Clive or Cliff or whatever the fucking his name is. And I'm like, oh, well, you're garbage. I hope we don't spend too much time with you. And then it just kind of went from there. And it just kept ticking up.
At the thing, yeah. I'm not a huge fan of the. Not that I like most of this. Not like you. But that's fine. The only one that I'm not a huge fan of is the Andrew Lincoln, Keira Knightley, Chiwetel storyline, and that is blatantly because he is a stalker. But there is a little nice element behind it, but it's very, very layered over. Dude, you're just kind of You're just stalking her.
Yeah,
like that's no.
It's just unhealthy. Like it's just an unhealthy environment.
Yeah,
and one that he really needs to just have a conversation with his best friend about. Yeah. And just say...
Which, to be honest, in my head, if I'd written it, that would have been the more interesting storyline. Don't have Keira Knightley in it so much. No.
Chiwetel?
Yeah.
If he had have done that...
Had it been he was in love with his best friend... That would have been a better...
Right.
That would have been better. No. Leave.
I thought you meant like him having to do the cue cards and say, I want to bang your wife.
I want to bang your wife.
I think we just need to hang out with some different people for a little while and get away from this. No. I just wanted to let you know.
No, I wanted him to be in love with his best friend, because that would have been a more I don't know, a more interesting storyline than Keira Knightley, who looks 13, by the way. Oh,
you got a real problem with Keira Knightley.
I don't fucking like her. I don't like her. And in this, like when she's getting married, she has like the strings of hair next to her head that all the girls had when they were
2003 hair.
It was a lot of body glitter.
Yeah.
It was a lot of guys.
Off the couch and she's wearing like the flared jeans and with the like cut off t-shirt. And I'm like, whoa, that's
crop
2003
tops, man. Crop tops. All the way. And all the guys had that. I had about fucking 6 of them. Those silk shirts that you went out clubbing in.
I hate those things. I had one. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely had one.
I wanted to keep them, but Sam went, these are going.
Gone.
No, I wanted to keep them so I could show my son and go, look what I fucking wore. What a dickhead.
Like what dating used to be.
Exactly.
Look what we had to put ourselves through.
Look at that shit. Look at 2001 right there. Yeah. That's disgusting.
Look, that whole story is troublesome in so many ways, but also like just in the fact that it's poorly constructed. Like the whole premise of it relies on her finding that wedding video that
wasn't hidden at all.
That he's labeled their wedding.
Yeah.
Like
no, but in that instance, he kind of you would in that like this is a horrible analogy, but a serial killer wanting to be caught, he wants to have some interaction with her at some point.
Yeah,
he's putting it there for a reason. He would have labelled it, gone. What if she sees it?
But maybe she will.
I want to see it. That's the point. This is why. This is you can't read into it too much.
Well, her reaction is totally off. Like it's not a human reaction in any way, shape, or form. His reaction isn't. Yeah. And then Dido starts playing, and I'm worried about who I'm meant to feel sympathy for.
Do you know what I think about when I hear that fucking song? I think about, this poor little kid is sitting on the porch and his dad hasn't come home because of work cover. That's what I fucking think about.
That's right. That's right, because
poor kid.
That's it. He wasn't wearing his protective gear, and he went digging around for his tool.
Look up
now
and live.
He's only got one arm.
Look up and live.
Dido's singing it. Dido's singing all that shit. Yeah, but I don't understand why we make him like he shouldn't get the Dido song. We should be cutting back to
Chiwetel, yeah.
Who's like, what the fuck? I won't go. I can see. When he like bashes his best friend. No, that's not it. When he tells his best friend, "Hey man, dude, that's not cool. We can't hang out anymore." I'm really sad because I thought you were my best friend. You probably should have told me this shit instead of made your creeper stalker fucking
wedding video that no one else can fucking watch.
No.
Yeah. You hate it. I love it. It's so good. I love this movie. I really do. Love is all around me.
I will find some more things I like. I think you can't go wrong with Joni Mitchell. And I think the
that is
the great thing. Yeah, well, the great thing about that Joni Mitchell tune,
Jesus,
is that she's recorded it twice. She recorded it once in the 60s when she was quite young, and then once again in the 90s.
Yeah,
or it might have been early 2000s. And so the version that she listens to when she kind of puts all the pieces together, is the one from quite an older Joni Mitchell,
right?
Who suddenly hearing a song like Both Sides Now, coming from. Like it just has this wonderful poignancy. It's a lot like how
I did not know that. So clearly you're a Joni Mitchell fan,
dude.
That's
Joni
great.
Mitchell is one of the all-time greats.
Okay.
The same way, I don't know if you've heard the Johnny Cash version of "Hurt."
Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah, so you can you listen to Johnny Cash sing, and it takes this much more personal meaning because he's lived it.
Yeah.
So it's a very similar thing. You have that Joni Mitchell singing about how she's seen love from both sides now, blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so having it twice. In her career, in her life, it has all this added poignancy because when she recorded it young, it almost has this positivity to it that it's gonna it has this really kind of she can see all the hope in it. And when she was much older, it had a lot more of kind of this like sadness about it, this sad kind of a life almost not rewardingly lived.
Nice.
So I think it was actually one of the cleverest choices in this film was to have that kind of that throwback. And had it because it was placed kind of subtly in earlier as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And Emma Thompson, I think, kills it in this movie. I think she's great. I think she's got some of the hardest stuff to do, and I think she does it really well. And I think the entirety of the relationship with her and Alan Rickman is the most grown up and most honest one of them all. I think
it is. It is the best. It is the best relationship. I actually when I first watched this movie, I never liked Emma Thompson. I flat out hated her.
Right,
I never liked her, whatever, in anything.
Sure.
This is the movie that turned me around. This is the movie that I was like, oh, fuck me. That was awesome. Emma Thompson. And then from there,
sure.
saw Much Ado and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I feel like Emma Thompson's just one of those actresses that has just always been... Stellar. She's always existed.
Yeah,
I don't remember a time when I didn't know who Emma Thompson was.
Yeah.
So, whenever you see her, it's just kind of like, right.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in safe hands.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't quite understand what she was doing earlier in the film. Like what her grieving assistance technique was. When she's basically like...
What do you mean?
Stop being a sissy. Like she's trying to make jokes with Liam Neeson.
Oh, I love that. That's hard. Like, that's tough love. I love that. I love people who are like that.
Yeah, but
dude,
the day after the
funeral,
I was a bit kind of like, what is your technique? I think that technique would backfire. I think when she says, "Oh, no one will ever want to have sex with you," in my head, I'm like, okay, if my wife died yesterday, I think
it yesterday? It was
the day after the funeral.
It was. We see the funeral. Yeah.
I think I'd tell you to get the fuck out. and I'd be like, we're not ready for this yet.
Yeah.
It was. I just buried her yesterday.
You've never had one. I know 3 people in my life who are like that. They tell you what you are feeling and it falls to the wall, and if you're not ready for it, it's fucking hurtful.
It's not about telling you, it's not about, this isn't tough love. This is just a really strange way of assisting your best friend who's grieving. Yeah. And I'm not sure it was the best technique. I'm not sure it felt like a real technique. It felt like a movie technique.
I don't think, no, but in an instance where when your best friend's wife has died, there is no what are you doing?
I'm trying to turn the light on. I can't see my nose.
Oh my god. In the instance that your best friend's wife has died, it's like Jesus Christ, there's like a 7-Eleven in here now. It's like you can't say, it's like the person that, straight off the view, oh, are you okay? It's like that. You don't say that. You don't say that. You say, a joke. You make a joke. And it's not as if he didn't know. She died of, was it leukemia or cancer? They're both cancers, but
yeah, I didn't pay close enough attention to see how.
Because you hate this movie.
No, it was just because I just found it really. It was just
a bit jarring. Was it? It was a bit jarring.
Is that really the angle you're going to take?
I think it's cute.
Well, I actually Liam Neeson. I think does some really nice work. I think he's beautiful in the funeral scene. I think it's lovely. I think the funeral is a really, it's an actually kind of like a truthful representation of a funeral. The way that you try to kind of, everyone tries to kind of do the cool light funeral, but it doesn't really work, and it feels kind of awkward because it's like
funerals aren't meant to be light.
But they're not. But everyone says it. Oh no, I don't want it to be. I don't want to be this sad, depressing thing. I want my funeral to be fun. I want you to play this fun song. And then you go, okay, but it's always going to be a certain way, and I think it captured that pretty nicely.
Yeah. So going back just a little bit on the Alan Rickman, Emma Thompson, do you? I looked this up and I didn't realize. One of the writers, a female writer that helped Richard Curtis write this. Do you think... I'm going to ask you a question first, and then I'll answer it.
Sure.
So, do you think that Alan Rickman slept with his secretary? Towards the end? Like, once they meet up in...
Yeah, I was trying to think that. Okay, so she gets the necklace, obviously. And we're obviously it's meant to be kind of left... Well, is it? Is it meant to be kind of...
Well, that's the thing.
Unclear?
It is kind of meant... It's meant to be unclear, but...
I would say he did.
Yeah. So the female writer, she wrote it as yes, he did.
Okay.
And now, unfortunately, their relationship will be forever be sad because of it. They will still be together, but yeah. Which really pains me. I wish I didn't read that. I wanted it the unknown. I like unknown.
Yeah, I like. There's a little bit of conversation she has, which makes me think that Emma Thompson's character is like the most mature, responsible person that I could ever dream of being. When she says something like, I'm trying to figure out if maybe you kissed her or slept with her, or God forbid you love her.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that I was like, sentence right there, I'm like, I could never think of saying like that.
Yeah,
never, ever.
But this is what I mean. It was
not that fucking mature.
It was such an adult thing to say, that the way she says it.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, wow, Emma Thompson, man, you're selling it. Like, you're really selling it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, maybe he didn't, because he's.
No, but the writer said he did.
Yeah, but it's death of the writer, man. It's so good. It doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant.
It's up for interpretation, is it?
Always. Once the writer has finished those last magical words of the end, it is no longer their responsibility to tell us what it means.
Oh, so that's what I was going to say before. That's really interesting that you said the Joni Mitchell thing. I didn't notice that.
Sure.
I know I've never known that before.
Yeah, right.
So friend of the podcast, Dan Hall, wrote into the Twitter today.
Did he really?
Yeah. Because he had a lot of... He goes, I have a lot of opinions about this movie, and they're not great.
Excellent. Me and you, Dan, we'll get along very well.
It was really good.
We'll
I think we should have him on the podcast. But yeah, he did say that the men are all disproportionately. Thank you. Rewarded, and all the women are disproportionately punished, which is what we were saying before.
Sure.
And yes, so, and also he said with the Joni Mitchell is that because she's a fan, she probably would have already had this CD, and with your information, she didn't. So she recorded it in 2003. Is that
No. She was a lot older when she recorded it. I can tell you though, because
that would make sense. Because
that was something that I thought as well. That it was
a really good point.
Because if she's such a big fan, and he's like, "I'll continue your Joni Mitchell
journey.
Yeah, education or whatever.
Yeah.
What a fucking patronizing way to say it.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was like, oh, because it looked like a kind of a cool kind of special edition too.
It did with the box,
and it looked like it might have. So it wasn't.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a normal CD. So I kind of was like, yeah, look, I'll forgive that, because I did think very similar to that as well. I was like, yeah, she'd already have this.
That's fine. I own. What have I talked about? Is it 5? Am I up to 5 versions?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. If someone gave me.
Superman, Richard Donner's Superman.
Yeah, okay, so it was recorded in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
The album's called Both Sides now.
Yeah.
And it's a retrospective, so she does a lot of old versions of her older songs.
Oh, nice.
And Both Sides now is just a very poignant one for that moment.
Yeah.
So that's, it's very likely that it was kind of just new around the time.
Okay.
So I think that we can get away with that one.
Oh, we can get away with that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan.
It's just super convenient that the box for the jewellery is also I've never seen a jewellery box that is that shape
small
ever.
I know, right?
But yeah,
I
but
know.
For the sake of
for the sake of storyline, you're forgiving a lot.
Story symbolism.
Tys, you're forgiving a lot for this movie. Come on,
what?
You're forgiving a lot.
If it does something good,
yeah.
I'm happy to admit it for sure. Like for instance, Ringo does rule, so I am. He's one of the greats.
Yeah, he does.
He's one of the all-time greats. Yeah. And Rhythm Is Life is also one of my favourite things that someone could ever write on their blackboard, on their front door. I was all about those two.
Cute. I do love that.
I like the kids, man. I like the kid. I like the relationship he has with Liam Neeson because it's not his real dad.
It's not his real dad. And he ends up calling him dad, and it's not made a thing.
No,
it's not a thing.
And it's like, I like their relationship. I like that he's comfortable talking about adult things with him, how he's like, we're going to have sex in every room, and that includes your room.
Yours. So we want you out of the house.
We're probably going to have to get out of here. Like, I like the relationship that's building, because that means you're going to have... in older years, you're going to have an honest and open relationship, and I think that's really important.
Yeah.
And I think it's sweet, and I like the way that, he's just... And look, that...
But the beautiful scenes where Liam is like, he'll come into the room and Liam is fucking pining over his wife.
Yeah.
Like, and he breaks him out of it like, yeah, buddy, what's going on?
And this is the thing, and their whole relationship is kind of maybe a little bit too deeply buried, but I think is meant to be, symbolistic of how the two of them are going to mourn the loss together.
Yeah.
And
by remembering.
And so, I think his kind of love for the singer of the band is just a little bit of irrelevant. It's just a kind of a cute story. It's mostly about them finding their way to mourn this terrible event together. Yeah. And I think that works to a degree. I would like to see more of that movie. That movie is more interesting to me than this movie. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like a stepdad and his stepson. Yeah. Kind of thrust together after the mum/wife dies. Yeah. That's an interesting story to me.
That is a good story.
And I'm sure it exists. I'm pretty sure it definitely exists in around other ways.
That's true.
But
I know. Oh, no, that's not it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Keep going.
But so I was interested in that, and I thought they handled that quite nicely.
For me, it's the Alan Rickman, Emma Thompson, and then it's the Hugh Grant, and is it Martine Cuthbertson?
McCutcheon? Something like that.
I love that storyline. It's so cute. It's so funny. She doesn't get treated well, yes, and he gets rid of her because he doesn't want a distraction being the Prime Minister.
I mean, yeah,
I know it's not the greatest, but she thinks it's her fault that he leaves. But it's such a cute, it's such a cute start where she swears twice, and I'm going to fuck up on my first day.
She's charming as shit. Like, she's an incredibly charming person, and anyone with eyes and a brain would find her attractive. So it's not like. It's not kind of surprising that Hugh Jackman that Hugh Grant is kind of like, she's all right. Like, of course, but they don't spend time together. They have that one conversation, and then it's just all awkward kind of interactions.
Yes, I love it. Where he puts his hands up and goes,
and this is all fine. That's all great stuff. What I find really uncomfortable about all this stuff in this film is that none of them end with people just saying, we should spend some more time together. Every one of them ends with like these mass.
Yes, it does. No,
declarations.
No, the Martin Freeman and Just Judy. I don't know.
They got married. She points to her finger.
Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it? No, but that ended for me with her going, which I hate. It's the worst line in the fucking movie. It was, all I want for Christmas is you. And I'm like, oh fuck, that's horrible.
Yeah, there's worse lines, I reckon.
There are, yeah. But I love it. I love it. It's cheesy. It's cute. I have to look over the misogyny because I just do.
Yeah, I in certain I think in other circumstances I reckon we'd have more I would be more agreeable with that. I think this one I'm having real trouble getting past it.
Because it was 2003 and not like something if you watch like Porky's.
It is more recent, and I think that's a big problem.
I think that's why.
It's also because it's not acknowledged enough.
And is it I think you're talking about
in
culture
society, at the moment.
Okay, right.
I think because
maybe it will. We've only just opened the doors.
Even certain things that I've seen where
shit.
it's like every now and then there'll be like a random kind of backlash around Christmas time where people say, "Hey, by the way, Love Actually is kind of garbage movie," and these people get shat on by people who are like, "Oh, you've got no sense of humor.
Really?
It's all this PC bullshit."
This is the first time I've heard of this.
This is like let's like calm the fuck down. Like I think. I want to be able to like separate time from sociological context.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Like we need to be able to at a certain point. Otherwise, like every
What's
film
happening now
noir from
is
the
just
50s, we're never going to be able to watch again because it's basically 2 hours of men backhanding women. But we don't look to them for representations of pure examples of stuff. This is the kind of movie that people put on because they want to hug their partner and be like, "Oh, isn't love grand?" And I'm like, "Well, not this kind of love. If any of you have this kind of love, you need to get yourself sorted out because one of you is fucking abusing and using the other one mentally,
right? And
that's not cool." Yeah, do you know what I mean? So that's where I'm kind of getting into this area where I'm like, I think maybe in another 20 years when I think it will be a little bit more widely acknowledged that it's not cool, but it's a product of its time, then we can be a little bit more, warm to some of the kind of more innocent, funnier moments.
Yeah.
Until then, though, I think it's almost like I feel almost responsibility to be a bit more kind of
there are other
culturally,
movies
sociologically aware that there's some real fuck shit happening in this movie.
It's not that fucked, though.
I think some of it's really bad. I think some of it's
What's
like
the worst
really.
one? What's the worst one?
I think the worst one is. Let me go to my notes. I probably wrote it down.
Give me some worst.
Probably wrote it
because
down.
the only thing that I can counter that argument with is the fact that yes, I know what you're saying, and I agree wholeheartedly that in the future movies like this aren't going to be made. But from the retrospect of, yes, what you said, film noir and backhanding women and staying in the kitchen and all that bullshit, we have gotten far beyond that. Not only that, going from that to the 80s where we had Porky's, where we were literally just staring at women making a hole into the change room to stare at women getting changed. We have moved on from that. And now this is just a light-hearted movie, and unfortunately Richard Curtis doesn't know how to write women, and fair enough, this is his first film, and maybe we're letting, we're kind of just letting things go for the sake of a little bit of a fun time and some fun things. But is there better Christmas movies? Sure, of course there is. Gremlins, for fuck's sake. What, are you kidding me? But not only that, these movies won't get made anymore because they will have the female point of view in mind. It won't just be about Colin and his massive knob.
I thought you meant Colin Firth, and I was like, when do we find out about that?
Colin Frizzle.
Yeah,
and he's got a big knob. See?
Yeah, and yeah, I get what I get where you're coming from. What I think
because all of these people who are coming up against anyone who's got the time to write, oh, by the way, Love Actually is a really bad movie. You're not going to change anyone's mind. The people that know that it's a bad movie, you guys have got your camp and you understand and you watch Muppets Christmas Carol and that's awesome. But the people who have grown up liking Love Actually, and I am not sticking up for misogyny in any way, fucking shape or form, even if I do have a fucking penis. I'm talking about how people like a movie from that time and the things that won't fly anymore kind of washes over them and they don't really see it. Instead, they see Bill Nye and a cute little kid and Martin Freeman getting naked, and it's just a bit of a laugh. I don't think they think about it that much, which is not great.
Yeah.
But from now, the movies that are being made now won't have that. We have learnt from this.
No, we have learnt from that.
Yeah.
And I think, it might be time to start thinking about that stuff and kind of start throwing a bit of a light to them. And yeah, like I said before, though, I think in other circumstances, if this was a movie like, I'm just trying to think of like, if this was one of those fucking garbage bag fucking Mother's Day or Valentine's Day movies that basically cashed in on that one holiday, and then we've never heard of them ever again. No one gives a fuck about them. They're all awful. Yeah. If it was one of them, I don't think we'd care.
Yeah,
I don't think
but
we'd care.
Love Actually gets
every
such
year
a rotation.
it gets churned out. Every year it gets churned out as being this straight to web sequel that came out earlier this year.
I didn't see it.
That I didn't fucking watch it, of course not. And like people were going sick for it. And I'm like, that's where I'm starting to be like, I think we need more people to stand up and say,
no, but they're not cheering on the misogyny of the movie.
It's just as bad to be blind to it, though, isn't it?
They're not that intelligent, unfortunately.
But this is for every. Maybe we need a few more people to go. Hey, come on!
They just want to see a get together of their old actors in the movie. You know that. Old mate Andrew Lincoln has a massive beard now. He's doing Walking Dead, and he's come back and he's got his sign still for Keira Knightley, who still looks like a sharpened corner of a bench. You know.
Did he do the signs thing again? Is that what he did in the fucking?
It was fine, and the fact that the kid who plays the drums is now massive in Game of Thrones. And comes back and And I think there was a scene between him and the girl. They got the girl back as well.
Oh, good on.
I don't remember her name. See, this is the thing. Nicholas doesn't know any names. That's terrible.
I think I've got the worst one.
Oh, go for it. Oh,
I'm torn between a few of them.
Come on, give me a really bad one. And watch your listeners scream down the marquee.
The fact that Natalie has to apologise for Billy Bob Thornton cracking onto her. That she apologizes for it in the limousine and has to kind of explain, oh, he was the president, I didn't know what to do, like she was somehow responsible for that.
Yeah.
That's hideous.
That is hideous. But unfortunately, that's happening right now. Nothing has fucking changed from that.
Let's call attention to it.
Yeah.
Let's say, no, that's hideous. Let's not celebrate the cuteness of that conversation because that's when they actually decide they're going to date. And she's having to apologize to him so that he can go, oh, no, that's cool. Yeah, no, it's fine.
No, he didn't say that was cool, did he?
But I'm like, why? I don't understand.
Because she feels responsible because to a prime minister and a president, and
that's a huge problem that she even feels because this is where it goes back. It's not the character that I have the problem with.
Yeah.
It's the writer of this film who felt like that she needed to apologize, and it is now the acknowledgement of this film being just a fun time, and I'm not trying to be like a shitbag about it because there are movies that I'll have the same argument and I'll stand up for.
Yeah,
but that's like I work my way backwards in kind of what I also think are terrible.
Yeah.
The girl that is trying to get Alan Rickman to sleep with her dresses up literally as a devil girl to the Christmas party.
Yeah. It's a bit too on the nose.
It's on the nose and it's just awful. Straight after Emma Thompson says the line, "Be careful with her," and he's like, "You know who I'm talking about. Be careful with her." We have a completely unnecessary scene of her taking off her clothes, her underwear, and she walks from her bed to the bathroom.
That's not unnecessary. I got told from a female point of view that the reason that shot is in there, and Sam made me aware of it, and I didn't know, is to show the audience that a woman doesn't wear matching, amazing underwear like that if she doesn't want someone to see it. So she thought, the secretary thought that Alan Rickman was coming home with her that night. That's why that scene is there.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that's a stretch for me.
I didn't know that. This is what I've been told.
All right, I'll pay that because that's a reasonable explanation. If that was Richard Curtis's purpose, so I will eat my hat.
Yeah, fair deal. Also what I've read to pick. So Richard Curtis had, I think it was a 3-hour meeting about that scene and what she should be wearing because it had to be very, very specific. It was him, and I think it read 14 other women, and why that scene is relevant. Yeah,
Jesus. But that's like okay.
Yeah, keep going.
Even her dad calls her like plumpy or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. Like, not once in the triangle do we ever, not once do we get a Keira Knightley reaction. After every moment, the reaction that is important is his.
Yeah. Because it's his storyline.
He doesn't care about their involvement in these stories. We never get a reaction from the Portuguese cleaner unless Colin Firth is in the scene.
Yeah.
We never.
Oh, you never get a standalone scene with just her.
I don't need a scene. I need a
reaction shot.
A reaction shot. They are their tools for their own growth. They are not characters.
Yeah.
And it just keeps happening. And then look, you do, and then people can point to the Laura Linney thing and say, well, Laura Linney's her own character. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine, but we get like this kind of, we get these moments where we see with Rodrigo Santoro or whatever, fucking Xerxes. Yep. We actually get to see
his reaction,
some of his stuff. Like he's not just a mindless tool for her. A warm prop, yeah, exactly. And Emma Thompson shares an equal kind of weight with Alan Rickman in that sense.
Yeah, she gets more of her own scenes, but she is Emma Thompson. Her story isn't a happy one.
No, it just doesn't feel like he cares about the female perspective to those stories in any way, shape, or form. And for a movie about love stories, it should be kind of equal, I would think.
Oh, you would very much hope.
You'd very much hope.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know.
I'd like to see him remake it. This is a movie I'd like to see remade. A Christmas movie.
But these are all, there are a dime a dozen, these kind of things. Like, I think we just need to have a good one. We need a really legitimately good one.
Who would you get to write it?
Well, the problem is I don't think you can ever get with this many characters, and this is what happened with those garbage Valentine's Day shit things, is because once you limit your screen time with any two characters, you're by very nature of that limiting their empathetic value and their room for growth. Like, we just don't have the time for it.
Yeah.
So these
too
kind
many
of
characters.
Too many characters. So these kind of ensemble things, I'm not the biggest fan of. I think, like, sadly, you can kind of look at some older Woody Allen stuff and see some reasonably good stuff, but he's a garbage human being. So, like, I don't want to support that. Yeah. But like ensemble romantic comedies, maybe it's just a genre that we should just put in the bin altogether.
I'm for that.
I'm kind of up
I
for
like
that.
one-on-one anyway.
Which what?
I like one-on-ones anyway, or a good triangle.
Yeah, like
a good triangle.
Like
the first 3 seasons of Dawson's Creek.
best fucking love triangle in the history of all.
Come on.
No, what's my favorite? Probably the Buffy Angel Spike.
Buffy Angel. Oh, I haven't done it yet. I will do it. It is on my list. I plan to retire and just watch all these things.
So hopefully there will be some kind of media available.
It'll be in my. I'll plug it in here.
I was about to say you like inject it. It has like data in a little. It just inserts into your bloodstream.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, oh, all 7 seasons of Buffy, and whoa,
and I've got an A.
That was huge.
Look at that shit.
Some stuff happened.
That was right.
Definitely happened.
Is it that quick? No, I want to enjoy it. Jesus.
Well, maybe you can get like a slow release one that does it like over time.
This is way dodge.
All right, let's stop talking about this. Did I finish all my? Actually, the last. Well, we might just run long. I feel
like I've done a really bad job for all those people who stuck up for love.
No, man, because like you're strong in your view and I'm strong in mine. It's hard. It's hard when we're both this way. What I thought would be really funny though, is because you know how we did for St. Elmo's Fire.
Oh, what did they end up doing?
None of these people have happy endings. None of these relationships will end up good.
No way.
I'm fairly certain because look,
no,
the problem
Colin
is,
Firth and
but they didn't know each other. Like they could sit down and have a conversation, and he like all of a sudden it could just be like, oh. Yeah, we don't see eye to eye on this at all. That's a big problem.
Okay, audience. So I'm just gonna. I don't want to help my friend Tyson.
Oh, but this is the sequel thing.
In his arguments, but so I didn't want to say the Portuguese girl. I'm sick of saying that. She has a name. Yeah. Let's call her a name. Unfortunately, like her name is Sienna Gilroy, but her
Sienna Gilroy was her sick girlfriend at the start who cheated on him.
Okay, keep going. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about their relationship.
No, they totally were fine.
I would love to think so, but like, God, like you haven't even had a conversation in the same language with each other.
Maybe they don't like each other.
Maybe they don't like each other at all.
Well, this is the thing, love. Do you know what?
They were
but love trumps over everything.
But they just wanted to bang each other. No. It's not love; it's sexual attraction.
And what's wrong with that?
Awesome. Yeah, but don't get married. That should be the end of that speech. He should do that big walk down their hometown, and he should be. Do you want to bang? Because I think we need to bang.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, we can bang, and we'll take it from there. Do you know what? Do you want to go out for dinner sometime? Why don't we have dinner? Why don't we have dinner and a drink and see if we even like each other?
Fair deal.
And because guess what? I learn a little bit of Portuguese. You learn a little bit of English. We can actually have a conversation.
We can actually have a decent conversation now. Yeah, that'd be
Chiwetel,
lovely.
fucking.
No, write that off.
Walking Dead, Keira Knightley. It's
Andrew Lincoln and Keira Knightley.
Shambles. They're not going to be friends. There's no way the three of them are going to stay friends.
No,
it's not going to happen.
Yes, they are. She's going to hide that from him, and when Chiwetel and Keira have a fight, she's going to bring it up.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then
I could be with fucking Grimes from Walking Dead now. He told me he loved me.
He told me he loved me.
He said I was perfect.
He didn't say I looked like a cut-shaped knife thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're done for. It's a shambles.
Fair enough. Martin Freeman.
Oh, no, they'll be fine because they're idiots. So.
They're idiots. Why are they idiots? Just because they like nudity?
No, they're fine.
They're fine.
They're fine. I'm sure they'll be fine.
Colin Frizzle has AIDS and he died. All those condoms he had in his bag.
Is his last name actually Frizzle?
Colin Frizzle.
Oh my god! Yes, Colin Frizzle contracted all the STDs,
all
in
the
them
world,
at once.
the clap, everything, and he died.
And he died a hideous death,
a miserable death,
surrounded by nobody because he was a garbage human being.
Exactly. He had a good laugh though. He was a stand-up comedian for a while and then died in the ass.
Yeah.
Bill Nye and Manager.
Oh, they're fine.
They're fine.
They're fine.
Awesome.
They're fine.
I think. You know
Although, no, actually, they ended up having some weird autofocus style fucking relationship. Like, what's his name from Hogan's Heroes?
Oh.
Have you ever heard that story? Because the last thing they say to each other is, "Let's get drunk and watch porn." And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, this relationship's gonna get weird.
Yeah, I think they experimented a little.
They might have, but it also could have gone into weird snuff shit as well.
Oh,
have you ever seen Autofocus?
No, I haven't seen Autofocus.
Watch Autofocus.
Is that
it's a good movie? It's Greg Kinnear. And
I think Sam had it for a little while.
And is it Willem Dafoe? I want to say Willem Dafoe. It sounds like the kind of movie he'd be in.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's about the guy from Hogan's Heroes, and he was like a secret porn junkie, and it was him and his buddy, and it led to like all kinds of murder and shit like that. Yeah.
What about Laura Linney and Rodrigo Santoro?
Oh yeah, no, that didn't happen.
Why not?
Because it didn't happen.
No, in my head they got together.
No, because he's not. He's
no, because they finally had a decent conversation.
He had the biggest boner killer of all time, and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not up for this."
That's the one thing I didn't like. A nice guy would have gone. I totally understand what you're going through. How about instead of trying to have sex, which is what we've wanted to do for ages, maybe this movie should be called Sex Actually.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Lust actually.
Anyway, he goes, how about you put on the kettle and we sit down and have a chat?
Have a chat. Do you want me to drive you? I'll come drive. Let me drive you.
I want to meet your brother. Yeah. That'd be lovely.
Tell me.
How about that?
Yeah. Tell me about your brother. I didn't know you had a brother,
dude.
Yeah.
Exactly. I didn't even know you had a house. I didn't even know anything about you. Let's show it. Let's chat. Exactly. Some of my favourite dates have been like 11 o'clock at night, going out for fucking pie. And going to have coffee and just chat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is that it? Is that all of them?
No. Three more.
Jeez.
Liam Neeson, little Sam.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
They were great. They grew up together, had a lovely...
Little Sam and the girl?
Sam and the girl? No.
No.
What?
Because they're 12.
Oh, you know what? They
dated for 2 years.
She got on The Voice.
Yeah.
Had a one-hit wonder and then did a lot of drugs.
They might have been dated through high school, but then they ended up at different colleges, and it all went to hell from there. Because nobody stays with whoever their girlfriend was when they were 12 years old.
That's true.
12 years old.
Exactly. Yeah, and he
more likely they pretend dated for a week and held hand once, and then she said that he was a jerk.
Yeah. Liam Neeson got together with Claudia Schiffer, and they shagged everywhere, including his bedroom. Yeah. And little Sam ended up inventing an app and made billions. Yeah. He actually invented Bitcoin.
That's how he invented Tinder. That's
more
in line with the fucking theme of this movie.
Yeah, there you go. So Hugh Grant and Martin McCutcheon.
I think it's McCutcheon.
Thank you. They lived happily ever after, Tys.
I would like to think so.
Thank you.
I would like to think so.
She became the first lady.
She developed an eating disorder because of everyone calling her fat all the time.
No, she developed an eating disorder, got a rifle, went to the US and shot a president.
Yeah, shot that president.
No, it was happily ever after, thank you. And the last one, Alan Rickman and Emma Thompson.
Yeah. They lived a...
Come on.
Because to me, it's the one that, strangely enough, it's the most human of all these relationships so far.
It's the most realistic.
And maybe, you know what? Maybe they built their trust with each other up over time, and as their children grew up and they rebuilt a beautiful relationship.
Hey.
Or maybe they lived in kind of doubt and it got divorced. But regardless, both of those options are like normal human reactions to these things.
Yeah. It is a very realistic look.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair deal.
It's not I've just ended up married to a woman that speaks Portuguese and a little bit of English. And I'm hoping to God that we get along because I want to bang her.
It is a movie of grand gestures, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
Very grand gestures.
Everyone loves grand gestures, don't they?
Yeah. Except when that little kid running through the airport, I'm like, man, you would have been shot like 4 times by now.
He was a little kid? No.
They're taking out kneecaps, man. Little kids.
What am I talking about?
Yeah. This was post.
Yeah.
Little kids can carry bags of shit.
That's very true.
He could be...
In that coat, that big coat that he had?
All he has to do is grab like a thing of liquid that he has, starts to shake when he gets to a certain point, and then the whole place goes fucking boom.
That's true. Jesus, poor kid.
Yeah.
I did like the bang on the... that was totally out of...
it was soundproof.
Yeah.
From the Graduate.
Graduate, thank you.
Yeah.
That was good.
I actually know that reference more from when The Simpsons took off The Graduate than I do from the actual Graduate.
I know it from Wayne's World when Wayne's World did The Graduate. That's what I know it from.
Mrs. Bouvier! Mrs. Bouvier! That's what I know it from.
Cassandra! Cassandra! Oh, sorry. Sorry, everybody. Wrong wedding. That's what I know it from. Mike Myers, man.
So funny.
Mike Myers.
All right, we got to wrap this shit up, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Christmas.
This is going to be the longest episode ever. I'm going to cut some early shit out.
Yeah, cut some stuff. You'll be fine.
We'll find a way.
All right.
All right. So let's crossing the streams.
We should do a Christmas crossing the streams.
Oh, all right.
Good King Wesley runs it. No.
His name is Wenceslas.
On
Good
the
King
feast of
Wenceslas.
Stephen.
It's a stupid name, but that is his name.
When he ran around all round town, who the fuck is Steve? Oh, sorry. I'll stop.
I do like the who the fuck is Stephen line.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes me laugh.
Because it is Stephen, what the fuck?
It is.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, well.
I got nothing.
You got nothing yet?
Wait.
Wait, I'm waiting. Am I going to delete? Am I going to cut some of this shit out? I think it was up until about 20 seconds ago we would have got away with it, but now it's getting a bit...
Yeah, cut this out.
Yeah, I'll cut this little bit out.
Give me a minute.
Oh, no, I've got mine. I'm going to do mine.
No, wait.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Okay, go.
All right. I'll talk about it for a little bit so that you got a bit of time.
Exactly.
All right, I'm going to recommend on Stan.
Ooh.
Going to Stan.
Stanley.
This is an oldie, but a goodie.
1961 is an oldie. Nice.
Almost my all-time favourite movie musical.
Go on. Ooh.
It probably is, actually. West Side Story.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. This is a classic. Directed by Jerome Robbins, Broadway legend Jerome Robbins and Robert Wise, who they had an interesting directorial relationship. I remember watching in some of the behind-the-scenes footage. It was, it's a complicated at best. The way that the two of them brought this to screen, because you have very much a Broadway director working with very much a film director.
Nice.
And as you can tell, there were some interesting clashes.
Yeah.
But Jerome Robbins is a legend of the theatre world. This adaptation, I think we've discussed before, I think is better than the stage version. I think
we have discussed
based on a couple of changes that it makes. I think casting is a bit iffy, but you've got. Excuse me, I just pushed the wrong button. You've got a few that probably you could do without, as in Richard Beymer, I think is his name, who plays Tony, who is a little wooden, and I don't even think sings the role, so it's kind of like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Natalie Wood is lovely, doesn't sing it, but whatever, it's Natalie Wood. But when you've got Rita Moreno and George Chakiris. God.
He got there in the end.
As Anita and Chino.
Yep.
Is his name fucking Bernardo? Fucking hell, I'm doing really badly.
Dude.
It's late. They are out of control good. The dancing is stunning in this. Like, for a guy who doesn't really know a lot about dancing, I can pretty much, I am perfectly the old saying, I don't know much, but I know what I hate. Or I know what I love, anyway.
Good Lord, that's a terribly negative way to look at it.
But I love the dancing in West Side Story. I love the direction. I love some of the old school techniques that they use. The staging is beautiful. Just some of the special effects. The look is gorgeous. Amazing. The sets are wonderful. And it's just such a lush orchestrations, and the sound is beautiful. I love this movie. If you are a fan of musicals at all, chances are you've seen it. If you're kind of resistant because it's like, oh, it's kind of old, I would
You're a fucking
get
idiot.
past that barrier because it is just stunning.
Who says that? Who says it's kind of old?
No, because
Who
it's
says
sometimes
that?
I know people that are kind of resistant to older films.
Oh.
And look, there are some that I've heard were great, and I've gone to watch them, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? That was kind of a piece of shit. And it happens. So this gets the Tyson seal of approval.
Nice.
I can't think of many movie musicals that I think are better. Maybe Singing in the Rain, but if not for that, I would say this one takes the cake pretty comfortably. It is stunning. So get on it. It's on Stan.
All right. I have mine. God, that was really close to the line.
It was good. Gave it just that extra little couple of seconds.
Mine actually came out this year, and I've been jonesing to watch it.
Yeah.
I need to watch it again. James Mangold, he stuck to his guns, and he reinvented a character that this movie was like a long time coming, and it had I think it was 3 other movies. Logan.
Oh, what's it on?
Foxtel. Foxtel now.
Fair enough.
I know. But it is worth it. It is totally worth the rent for this thing. This thing, going from Wolverine to the Wolverine to whatever the other to Origins. What was it?
Yeah, there was Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Was it called Wolverine? It was called something else. Wolverine Origins.
Wolverine Origins.
X-Men Origins.
X-Men
Wolverine.
Origins. Wolverine.
Yeah.
What was the second one
The
called?
Wolverine.
The Wolverine.
And then Logan.
No, that's not true. There's one more.
No, there's no 4.
Really?
Yeah, it's just the 3.
Okay.
And Mangold did the Wolverine and then Logan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But the guy stuck to his guns. They knew what they wanted to do, and because of the studio taking a chance to something that was adult with a comic, something that is essentially a comic book character, you get a movie that the whole superhero element, we've talked about this before, superhero element is in the back seat of this movie, and this movie is all heart and emotions, and it is just tour de force.
It is. And I'm fairly certain it's going to be featuring pretty prominently when we do our year wrap-up in one of our first episodes of next year.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to coming soon to 2018.
It's going to be a fun year.
Yeah.
I've been watching a few trailers that have been coming out. There's going to be some exciting things as we go through the month by month.
I know.
But yeah, Logan is going to feature very prominently. That was for me anyway. I'm just doing my little kind of head check on the films of this year.
Yeah.
I'm finding it hard pressed to find a film that I enjoyed more than Logan. This year.
Really?
Yeah.
Built.
That's
awesome.
Thought it was stunning.
It was so good.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. There might be something else in there that I remember and go, fuck, no, that was heaps better.
Yeah, totally.
But Logan was something else. So I can't recommend that high enough.
Amazing.
So if you have Foxtel, which I do at the moment, I think I'm going to watch that pretty fucking soon.
You bastard. You got all the time in the world.
All the time in the world.
All right.
No, after tomorrow I do. I got one more gig tomorrow.
One more gig tomorrow.
A fucking Christmas thing, and then I'm done.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're Nic and Tys and Videotape, and if you would like to find us on the social, you can download, listen, subscribe, rate, review, share, repeat, all of that stuff.
Rinse and repeat.
You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter.
Yes.
We are on Instagram, but we don't have any photos yet. Maybe we'll make next episode, maybe we'll take the
a little
first photo.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, I think so.
I like it. We'll wear some Christmas clothes.
Yeah, I like it. But yeah, if you type into a search engine Nic, Tys and Videotape, it's pretty sure you're going to come up with us.
You definitely do.
Original.
That's it.
So yeah.
Don't forget the YouTube channel, which is kicking along nicely. It's going really well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I haven't checked on it in ages.
Yeah, it's fun.
We had a good, also a few ratings on iTunes. That was nice. Thanks you,
awesome.
people. Thanks heaps. Oh, and from Tyson saying that the iPhone podcast thing sucks. Stick with it. My friend Tys is a negative Nelly.
If you can
stick with it, people,
keep
it's
it
fine.
and use the rating, that's fine. But other than that, there are oh man, this new one I'm using
literally just scroll
is
down.
So much better.
Can you rate it from that new one though?
No, you can't.
Exactly. This is why I stick to the iTunes one. Literally scroll down.
But once you've already rated us,
boom,
you're done. So if you do that, rate us and then go get something
and then
else.
hop off
because you need to tell Apple that their products suck. Sometimes they need to be alerted.
They need to be told when something.
Because otherwise they'll just ignore it.
Exactly.
Very good. Well, next week we'll have some kind of special last episode of the year fun for you.
That's true.
Keep an eye on Twitter.
Oh yeah, it's our last episode of the year.
We're going to be taking a short break. We're probably going to take about 3 or 4 weeks off. We're going to have a couple of fun things to do in that time. We'll still put up an episode, well, a couple here and there. There'll just be some retrospective looks at the year and maybe a few little bonus features here and there. But yeah, we are going to take a little bit of time off because we've earned it. But other than that, we've still got next week, our big Christmas celebration. So tune in.
That's true.
And if you've got any requests for that last episode, anything in particular you'd like to hear, why don't you send us an email or get onto us on Facebook or on Twitter?
Yeah.
Because we're kind of open to anything.
We're open
We've
to
got a couple of ideas for what we might do, but that
unless you've got something
we've got a bit
rad.
of space to fill.
Exactly.
Because what we're thinking won't take up too much time. So
Maybe that's good. I like maybe just a general chat. Maybe we could both get pissed and fuck it. Yeah. I knew it'd be all for that. I knew fucking do it. Oh, hilarious.
All right, but other than that, let's get out of here.
Bye, Tys.
Bye, Nick.
Bye.